Riot Games Arena son las finales del Upper Bracket y le damos la bienvenida a los Vengadores de la TAM, Leviatán!
Leviatán coming into this one with a lot of hype because this is a team that's, as I like to call it, king in the Zoomers, and they are doing the business. This could very well be a big opportunity here, Ender, for Leviatán to really show why they belong in this stage.
A chance to go straight to the finals. And let me just say, I have had so much fun watching Sato playing these last few weeks.
Amazing.
Not only has he been on fire in the server, but he has also just been playing up a storm on stage. The most animated player we've got. He is a pure vibe up there to watch.
It's incredible to see this team put it together so quickly. 4 players already going to their first global events, 4 players with a chance to now go to their first finals here in America, all around king.
Let's bring out their opponents. It's the 3-time America's winners, G2 Esports!
Side of the stage, G2 Esports, a team that has a very different story. While for Leviatán, you have a team full of young hopefuls looking to really make a name for themselves. Here, you have a set of 5 guys who have been there, who have done that. And I also mean Baby too, because let's not forget, Guy was a pro player in a variety of other games too. So you're talking about people who have so much experience walking on that stage right now.
This is the most consistent team that we have in Americas. They always perform late in tournaments. They always make finals, and they're trying to get yet another trophy under their belt if they can just win 2 more games. But you mentioned it, Christy. I think what would make it special is getting to do it with Baby Bay, bringing him to that final, having him play in front of that crowd, and look to lift his own trophy this time.
It'll be majorly important for them. Let's throw up the maps, though. We're starting things off on Ascent with Pearl and Split to decide on. Split's an interesting one because it's something that Leviatán have looked very good on, but people are calling out as being predictable. And I think that if G2 have a full week to prep and anti-strat you're getting taken apart there.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Going earlier in this pool as well, choosing to first round pick the Ascent from Leviatán. They played this once, they dominated that game playing a double duelist composition, but that's unknown territory for G2. They're yet to play the Ascent.
I do think there is something to be said about trying to go into maps that is more unknown territory versus G2. I think this is a team that puts in a lot of work to understand you. They anti-stratted Cruise Lotus, which has looked so good all year, in 1 day turnaround time from a match. And now they've had a full week to try and get prepared for this one to send them into the final. I think that Ascent is one of the better places I think Leviatán could start it out on.
Yeah, I mean, of course, so talking about Josh RT over here, I mean, chances are he was probably cooking that playbook a couple of weeks prior to, right? I mean, the guy, they're absolutely insane when it comes to their prep, and it's something that G2, it's the reason why they're in the position that they're in now. But of course, for Leviatán, it may not matter because they could just have that firepower that could dominate the server.
That's the thing. I think if you're looking on paper, if you're the thinking man, you're going in G2. They've got some of the best macro. They're gonna prep. They're gonna shut this team down. But the first time they played, it was the individualism. It was the LEV players that made the difference to win that series. This is a very different G2 in playoffs.
It definitely is. Agents coming in. This is what I believe Leviatán were playing before. Neon on the chamber is going to be something I especially want to keep my eyes on. Again, I think setting him up for early picks to shut Jogmo out of rounds, that is how you open up this map.
Could control the game from the get-go.
Exactly.
Honestly, if G2's not careful. But you know that they have to be working around this. But it's going to be so difficult considering just how on point Neon is. Time and time again, here are the G2 agents.
I want to see what they're playing.
Okay,
a Yoru of all things here, even after the nerf, so plenty of flashes there between Yoru and Phoenix.
I actually don't. I mean, Yoru could still go invisible, go behind enemy lines. So
true.
The ult is powerful. I think the biggest piece of why you might want to pick this is attack side. That gatecrash is still good to get into sites, but you're trading off defensive presence and you're making other compromises to get it. This is a really interesting twist.
Oh boy, folks. Can this young Leviatán squad take down G2 for a second straight time? Let's find out. Send it over to your casters for the call. Here's Uber and Wyatt.
Now, competing at international events is the pinnacle of the Valorant players' experience. King and Leviatán were in Santiago, his home country, but not as players. They were spectators. They had to watch it all go down without being able to lift a finger to change the result. That's a different situation heading to London, but that fueled King and this team to drive them forward. And this is a matchup that's steeped in history. The last time King held a stage trophy aloft was over G2 back in 2024 Stage 2.
And obviously there's a lot of talk about the matchup earlier this stage. It was week 2 when LEV beat G2 when they were still running the Harbor stuff, but I'm done talking about that, man. G2 are on a 5-match win streak, 10-0 on the maps in those 5-match wins. It's time to dead the G2 slow start narrative.
It's time for match start now, presented by Samsung OLED. Leviatán on the defense side. Let's see G2 folding this Yoru into their comp for their first outing since Ascent made its way back into the pool.
G2 currently just working their way up mid, where you're definitely expecting to be having to break a chamber trip or use the wall just to completely circumvent it, get into this B split.
Yeah, it's going to be a delayed hit over towards B main, but all this pressure coming in through market now. Spike and Sato, though, are trying to stand tall. It's got to be on the Leviatán players, folded back onto the B side proper. As this is slowed up for G2, but Baby has dealt with King, now maybe opening things up for a wrap angle that may not even be needed. Nope, they're going to step up, and Trent's going to knock him down.
Yeah, just tucked in Boathouse, easy little 2-piece from Trent. Clean up those players on the rotate. A rotate forced out by Dre. Already finding some impact early. He has been the standout for me on this G2 team, the best player for them in this stage. His Vice has been really phenomenal. I think they've got Dre just locked into an ideal spot as a player. Like, you think about him in kickoff, he was really good in the Americas portion, less so at Santiago, but man, they put a lot on his shoulders. He was picking up the Waylay when Jaw was struggling with it, playing Yoru on a map like Abyss. He was bouncing around to a lot of different agents, and I do think that contributed to him kind of being overwhelmed at Santiago. Too much to handle, and now coming into this stage, he's just locked in on the Vice, playing a little bit of Chamber, and it feels like he's really just in his flow right now.
He's comfortable. Look at this. Nice opening here, but might be overwhelmed with this pressure out of B main. Doesn't note Spike crossing. That's important. No chance for a crossfire. Are you kidding, bro?
Oh, back to the phase days. that was phase, baby, for sure.
He dead-ass tried to whip a 360. Okay. 3v3, but obviously post-plant with Jorgamo heading upstairs. This is Neon forced to give him a little bit of this ground. And belatedly, there's going to be some pressure coming from Tree side, but Neon never got to see where those bullets came from.
Cool to see Jaw picking up this Yoru. Something that we've seen from PaperX, for instance, in their last match on Ascent. They beat Global Esports, and something on the Yoru there went 28 for 14. So obviously, you can still find some sick impact playing him on this map. And funny enough, the last time G2 actually played on Ascent, it was a loss to PaperX last year at Champions in the upper bracket, and now they just try to steal a little bit of their sauce, getting back playing on the map for the first time this year with it coming back into the pool.
So much of this, Vice util makes it impossible for LEV to push up on this side of the site, get any sort of info. He didn't catch the 360, that's a shame. Scrappy stuff inside the A side as well. You can't be muting the boy for that.
Now, despite being down 0-2, Sato's already just one orb away from getting the Phoenix ult. That is just how things work in this meta. Phoenix is so strong. That's why you see it on both sides.
Sato's played more of it than anyone else in Americas by far. Neon takes contact, Leaf flattened instantly. He's going to be revealed up here on the site. These darts in from Trent have been impactful.
Look at that preemptive grab well on the TP spot. That was pretty sick, though it didn't actually pay off for G2. They've made their way into the site, but they are heavily stalled out. 3 anchors from this Leviatán team are backside ready to greet them, but G2 want to pivot towards spawn. Sato, yeah, he's ready for it.
No doubt about it. No chance to check for that. It's already 2 hits going rolling. Well. And the flash around the corner. Getting to refight at every opportunity is Sato. And he dismantles G2's attempt at a pivot.
this week, he's got the crowd to hype up. No, he was full of energy last week regardless. Just deriving the excitement for LEV.
Oh. Coming to this game, Sato's played 241 rounds of Phoenix. The next closest person in Americas is Koala Noob at 138. He has had his nose to the grindstone all stage long.
Let's go.
G2 on their first full buy. Intentions of trying to get into A main, but could be denied by the early molly that's going to be thrown onto the spike. And then the relay bolt dash out, a nice little trap play. Doesn't actually garner a kill for the Leviathan side, but serious damage. What's Jaw and Leaf and the shock dart out of nowhere from Trent? Okay.
That's placed perfectly there for Main. That is nerdy.
That is the Phoenix ult, no longer relevant in the round either, with Sato being dead.
Look at this walk up here from King, though. This is rather early. Jaw might have a sense about this, though, and yep, Clone going to be triggered straight away. He's not good for the fight, though. King can double back here. There is Baby Bay watching across in mid, but King had the presence of mind to TP across and gets away with murder.
Yeah, some apprehension to swing, and Leaf is just going to use that run it back to get right into the site. King stalled out. Spike under some serious pressure. That's surely doomed to King. Oh, not mad at the re-swing off the distraction, but he's not able to connect the shots. Neither can blows. Neon, 1 versus 3, can go for it, has the money to rebuy on the next round. And honestly, just more damage to G2 would be helpful at this point.
Yeah.
Look at the state of their econ, right?
Get another gun away from them, absolutely. Especially after the first gun round being 1 out, or the bonus being shut down of G2. Lev would love to build off this a little more.
They might even just have intentions of playing for exits at this point, which again, not a terrible decision. Get another 1 or 2 kills.
Teleport's ready.
And I can put Lev in position to do some serious damage to G2's economy in the future rounds.
Really active, early defense side here from Leviathan, though. He pops up into A main. Sato, you can imagine, would have tried to refight with his ult, where he's still alive. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Neon is absolutely tearing it up. From one round to the other, it's Sato into Neon. Still a G2-1 round, but boy, talk about economic damage.
Yeah, just torching the finances of G2. Market crash. And that aggression you're talking about is going to be the name of the game for Lev on this defense side. Running the chamber in addition to the 2 duelists, constant extremity pressure. Also, you really want to have someone on this map that's a viable AWPer. Ascent is such a great AWPer map. And because we're not seeing a lot of Jet, okay, we have the Yoru for Jaw. He could pick that up on defense, and you get the chamber with Neon to pick that up.
In position is Sato here with a flash off contact.
So many little trap plays for Lev.
There's that flash and the swing! Spike's gonna be there. Oh, that's what 1,500 hours of Neon does for you folks. He ain't done.
Oh my God. Lev go from the trap play over in A main with the Molly relay bolt into the flash through the window trap play with the relay bolt in B main. And the G2 have been deep-fried.
It is insane what Phoenix comps on this map give you util-wise. You can just dump so much of it.
Yeah, Phoenix is really strong on this map. So many of the maps in the pool right now, obviously. I mean, it was funny. There was an interview with Leaf who was talking about, man, I'm on the Phoenix now. This agent is over-tuned. Bro, they just nerfed everything else, and Phoenix is really good right now. Don't get him nerfed too, man. Relax.
And he's trying to psyop, I think, out of this metagame.
All right, here's the operator for Neon, and it's just sort of run it down mid, the classic TRX Vision Strikers play of old. And they've just fried them again, man. The run it back straight out main, fast lane down mid.
And another 12-second round, by my reckoning.
G2 right back onto Eco. No time for me to pivot to even allow you to play-by-play cast with that round at all, Mitch, because that was 5 seconds.
But these these tiles crunches are so effortless.
That was an 8-second run. Was that 8 seconds? That's
who's counting? You've got to watch out for that for G2. The tile crunch is not a new concept,
Tough to high-five your teammates. Well, you know, good try. Good try, a little high-five, but damn. They have been turned to dust in the last 2.
That's nothing new, right? We've seen tiles crunches before.
That's legit. I mean, I was calling back to Vision Strikers, man. That is the oldest play in the book on this map. But it just always gets reinvented with whatever the agents are of the current meta. You're always going to throw in your little tiles crunch play eventually. That is the classic. And on top of that, they had Neon to just watch for top mid when someone tries to walk in, and they just go down to the easiest op shot of all time, walking into the angle. Feels like Lev had all of the little contingencies tied up in these rounds. Like, you even think back to that early round where G2 execute into B, and then they feel pressure to pivot into spawn, but Sato is in the spawn, watching that lane anyhow, right? They've just got everything on lock at the moment.
And even the rounds where G2 can, find success, get a plant, get into the post plant, even win the round in the end, they lose all their guns if it's someone like Spike wrapping on them late in the round. Neon's got an op to hand as well.
Yeah,
Talks about how important it is to have somebody who can carry that weapon.
Yeah, on this map, and this is where things can really get out of hand. You're dealing with an op on one side of the map and fearless duelists on the other. that are going to run it down, or you're walking into a trap play on one side of the map. LEV have been more than willing to activate those. And if you want to go elsewhere, you're walking into the Neon Op, who has proved to be one of the best operas in the league this year.
Side force back here by some of this early util, but a molly is enough to slow G2 down for now. Outdrone gets up A main, but there's not a lot of pressure there. It's delayed, if anything! And King turns him into chum! Well, Trent, suffice to say you've got quite a situation on your hands now. And poetically, this was in fact the map. The last map of this series where King and that Leviatán roster then beat G2 in 2024 in that Stage 2 final to lift America's trophy. And honestly, we might be running it on back.
Sato just trying to get closer to another run it back. LEV, in all of these situations, have had several players ready to fight G2 at all times. They are never lacking in presence. King is here fighting close. Look at Spike, he is immediately in there to assist. And again, they've always got someone to watch the flank as well.
We can see that second player there means that even if Yoru can bypass the choke by TPing, Spike's able to pick that up and make sure the King survives there.
G2 playing right into this dimensional drift, plus the Astral Wall to get into this site. Jaw knows that Close has been routed on out of there. LEV, do they set up for the flood? They're all here.
Let's listen to the G2 now as they try and hold in this retake.
When the ult falls, you mean to gap. Then fucking
they're joining out, boys. Might try to flood.
I'm gonna flash spawn, get ult.
Hurt.
Flash out market. Oh, sheesh. They flash
Turn
out. Market, run out,
coming out.
Lane.
I hit one market, Omen. Phoenix Omen market.
Sorry, Jack. All good. They know I'm stuck. I'm flashing early. Yo, we have wall on lane. I'm gonna go upstairs, okay?
He's got Phoenix flash.
You play, Jake.
I have drone. I'm gonna drone above lane.
One spawn, one front boat.
I'm droning above lane, guys.
Spawn.
One enemy remaining.
Love the walk up there from Valen. A tiny little tuck right into Switch House. The way he navigated that smoke as well, kept his back to the wall.
Yeah, finally G2 getting something on the board. Obviously, phenomenal kills from Valen, but LEV, crucial on that round. He gets the kill onto Spike, sliding by as the Neon with Yalt. That's difficult in of itself, but he does such a great job just living in B main. He's throwing out the flashes. He's drawing all the attention to himself. When you're retaking on that B site, if you know someone is main, it's tough to just ignore them and get in the site. You're always waiting for that timing, so you want to deal with him, and that's when Valen gets that moment to just slip through the smoke. Gets a crazy 4K. It's a really good post-plant setup, but you have to account for the fact that it required G2 to rip an Astra ult and the dimensional drift just to get into the site unscathed to even be in a position to close things out.
And that was before they used their Hunter's Fury and Steel Guard. So very expensive round in terms of ultimates. And this time G2 have really slowed the pace down. No mid-presence to speak of, really, outside of a gate crash to be utilised. Neon be forced off that angle there. It's a flash exchange for rendezvous activation.
Now G2 knowing that, at the very least, they'll force LEV to have to re-clear into B main, but there's some serious danger for them doing that unless they use some util pieces to get in there, and they expend the recon to do so. All the while, G2, they're pivoting into this A side hit. Everyone from LEV stacked up over towards tree. They want to cut off the players on cap, perhaps?
The Blaze Wall here is going to cut any resources off from that A side itself. It's going to get messy here inside tree. Spike trying to push up and finds purchase on Baby Bay despite the stun.
He really gets caught with the util in his hand. They're trying to get another. Thorns out. Wow, isolated 1v1. Beautiful from Leaf to even things up. Has the run it back. Might not have an opportunity to use it. No, he just wants to send it right away on the walk.
Oh, Spike, dangerous there on that re-wrap. And now he's actually got time to impact this round result.
Yeah, can't say the run it back did a whole lot outside of perhaps delay, keep LEV a little bit concerned, but they lose a player in the meantime. Neon just hoping to get a spam kill. Grab wall for further delay even.
This Astra util is important, yeah, to keep Sato out of the fight, and the timing just wasn't really there. Spike goes a little too early, and Neon's got nothing to do now.
Yeah, just can't find an angle with that operator getting through door while the fight's going down at Heaven. And so yeah, Leaf's ult obviously doesn't get him any kills, but it just offers up some delay, and Neon's really not in a position to assist effectively on that retake, so G2 can just take that 2 versus 2 towards Heaven.
Just that one grab well, just to interrupt the spacing a little bit. Also that like the free frag that Leaf picked up on Blozini, who was isolated, was pretty crucial.
Yeah, things were looking good for LEV here. like, again, this decision, they are consistently able to get 3 players to fight together to cut off some section of the hit. They deny everyone coming from tree, but not enough. G2 closing things out in the late round, which I think if you're to take anything from their last 5 games, which are flawless wins, maybe one of the things where they slip are some of the late rounds when they get chaotic, when they don't have the control of the game. It can fall out of their hands, but you know, they show some real resiliency there in that 2 versus 3.
That was a round where G2 got to be proactive. They got to set the tempo. LEV don't go for an aggressive early pop here, but they do have pretty heavy cubby presence here.
Right now, a little bait and switch setup for LEV over towards Cat. We can have Neon take contact, teleport away. King's waiting in the corner. They are completely giving this A side.
No one there to watch this now. Well, maybe hoping for a split of some variety, but it's going to be a walk up inside the A side by G2 regardless. Door still open for now. Spike making his way to the side as we speak. There's going to be pretty heavy upper presence now. Maybe a multi-swing from LEV off this.
It's going to be a straight-up full-on retake into the Vice, which can be difficult. Look at that Thorns position. That's really nice from Baby Base. It's tough for it to break, but a little weird looking.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
I heard it.
Not sure if that
I heard it
actually goes
activated,
through.
but I don't see it.
That, but regardless, John, the push gets caught.
Spike now. Oh, my goodness. Straight into hell. Neon could just wait on this now. G2 already been reduced drastically. The timing! Oh, that hurts! Baby might have an opening here. Now he gets himself one more. That's going to have to be enough, but Spike seems already on that defuse and will get the job done.
G2 feeling congested, try to fight for some space into tree. Neon is just able to shut down the 2 of them. Op on the line.
This was fantastic from Neon. That is heavy contact that he's just deftly handled.
Maybe they finds a nice timing, but at that point, too little too late, even with the pair of kills. And that's LEV just playing for the full retake as intended. They only leave the trip in A, and plan works out perfectly for them.
G2's crouched up though, 5 attack side rounds. For those that are forgetting about Ascent, normally defender sided. However, the weaponry is sorely limited in this round for the attackers.
Yeah, also impressive that G2 have been able to get 5 when I feel like they've been on a lot of ecos here.
Yeah, helps them in the pistol, I guess.
The Baby Bay count of 30, Trent is low.
Neon blinded up there, Blaze Wall in his face. This will give some step to the side for G2, but again, it's just Sheriff and a Stinger. And Elite left as an insert.
Zato would be delighted to find a kill at some point in this round, so we can have to run it back for the last one.
So here's the late round pivot. Trademark there is obviously going to detect this push up mid, the standard location for it. That will be heard now by G2. They're mindful. Man, Neon and hitting kills while flashed. That's the 2nd time this round. Holding these beautiful angles here, and now Leviatán can let the game come to them. It surely will. 40 seconds left. Spike ready here inside spawn. Tough spot to dig him out of as well, and a superior weapon. It takes Valen to push him down.
Yeah, just talking about that Neon off, he has been excellent this entire year. Was pretty much the perma-Yoru when LEV were on their run through kickoff, which was far less successful than here in Stage 1. In Stage 1, he's been more dynamic, playing the Jet, playing the Chamber, playing the Star Pearls. And it's really benefited the team a lot. The roles that they've got right now, and leaning heavily into the Phoenix on everything, the flash comp, has worked out really well for them compared to their approach to the game and kickoff. And just having more time together as a team, you can tell that the teamwork, the fundamentals are just getting there as these guys have more time in the server, more match time together. I think this meta has looked stronger for them as well.
These guys had to get it together pretty quickly after kickoff, right? Leviatán didn't have a whole lot of time to, stake their claim to London.
Yeah. And, I mean, even speaking of, just to be a little future thinking, since we're looking at the 2 teams that have qualified here already, it's the upper bracket final. LEV are going to have to switch away from this Neon more than likely. She is going to be nerfed heading into London, so they found their footing in this stage. You mentioned, not having a lot of time coming into this one. Hey, they do succeed with the switch, going super Phoenix heavy, getting Spike on his best role on the Neon, but they're not going to have a lot of time to be able to switch up and figure themselves out heading into London, reinvent themselves a little bit. And then you're looking at a G2 that aren't as heavily indexed to the Neon. They've stopped running the off-meta stuff, very traditional comps, and they can kind of just breeze right into London running the same stuff.
Yeah. So big difference between these teams as they come out of playoffs. But obviously right now they're thinking about seeding, thinking about that map advantage in the best of 5 on Sunday. A lot to consider.
In the hunt for what feels like their 100th Americas trophy at this point, after just dominating the region all of last year.
Yeah, while Leviathan and King looked on trying to find something. Tough year.
That's so cool from G2. Able to get the catch on the Astro Wall across the other side of the map while executing into B with the trio. Blow's cut off right now. Does he try to take a timing? It's going to be awkward.
King surges into mid, sees a flash of leg if I'm not mistaken, but is he ready for Valen? No. Caught out there. This Astro Wall really throwing Leviathan for a loop. Leap reveal, but inside run it back, not too bothered about it. Maybe a flash to be found here, just as the stun dissipates.
Just a very cool set piece out of the timeout from G2 with that Astro Wall. Kind of baits the push through on A. They collect the 3 kills on the mid rotators.
Pretty clean. That is pretty clean stuff. It's a 6-6 half. G2 fight back. An Astro Wall that splits that map in half diagonally can be abused. There's a real big push up there, in fairness, from Leviathan. But that's what you're hoping for, I think, for G2. Start with that pistol win.
Yeah, pistol obviously beneficial, but I think LEV bounced back with some really cool round ideas. So many of the trap plays, that classic rush down mid tiles crunch. They had some devastating set plays against G2 early on in that half. I think we've seen some quality play so far from both teams, which is certainly what you expect in the upper bracket final, but you know, maybe some questions with LEV against this strong G2, but they're up to the task right now.
So far, so good. We are even at the half. It's going to be G2 on defense after this.
We got this old mattress.
Waterbed.
And the receipt.
How about you beat it with a better deal on one of these fresh setups?
We can't do that.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal today.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
I'm just gonna leave it.
We're sending these squads to Masters London, and you can see the competition live and in person at the Copper Box Arena starting June 6th. We've got a QR code here for you to scan and score your tickets for our next global event. Masters London, it's going to be freaking epic. Both these teams are going to be there, and God knows what form. We just kind of discussed how Leviathan might respond to the changes to Neon, but one thing is always sure is that G2 will bring their A game. We'll have to see which one of these teams end up with that highest seeding from making it to the final, though. And at some points, it felt like Leviathan were threatening to run away with the game on these aggressive defense side plays, but G2 really locked it down and got themselves 6 rounds out of the half wire.
Now on this side swap, definitely going to be looking at Baby Bay on this defense vice. Util is going to be crucial at denying LEV on the double duelist executes, denying that Neon from creating tons of space, getting into the site. It's been crucial to the G2 game plan this entire stage. They have been the team most heavily leaned into Vice, and it's completely worked. It's also working for Baby Bay individually. You know, I was maybe thinking he'd play Chamber here as well, since it's a great op map, but instead it's, you know, Jaw on the Yoru. Maybe we'll see him picking up the op a bit on this defense side instead. Now let's start early on A, work towards B.
Slowly.
Leaf's got that watch.
This does put G2 in an awkward spot, though. Now they're going to be smoked out of the B site while we have a full hit coming in from Leviathan. They know which way the wind is blowing.
Earlier in the round, we saw Neon get the wall out in B main as well, and then a little bit of delay. LEV get the free execute in, but I like this from G2. Look at B main. 2 players ready to wrap. They're going to be retaking from multiple angles. Everyone from LEV just stuck in this site.
Leviathan know that now that trademark is being cleared. Spacing is going to be everything here for G2 as they make their way in. Neon a little bit low after that first engagement, and all of Leviathan slowly getting contained. Now some of the util coming off the side here for G2. Flash around the corner. Sato knows he needs to try and fight his way out of this situation, but Baby trades him out. Spike's mindful of the push-up play, but he can't deal with the player right in front of him downstairs. Valen deals with Blozine. It's Neon at 18 health. Needs a big right click.
Oh my god!
That is absurd! What a pistol round to win! Just as it looked like Leviathan were cooked.
G2 on that retake were really intelligent with the map control that they got with the double wrap through B main. You're just looking at the mini-map, and on paper, you favor them. Everyone on LEV are stuck in the site, and you could see that they felt the walls closing in on them when they go for the aggro flash play on stairs. But even at that, they're trying to get out of that little lane to fight G2. Felt like they had zero business winning that round. Looked like they were going to close it out, and then Neon steps up for the team for, I don't know,
the umpteenth time?
Yeah, 50th time, 60th time this stage. He has been phenomenal.
How about these apples? Big push out of the A side, but behind a flash, but Leviathan, well, they've been born and molded by this kind of chaos. They are happy to oblige.
King recovers the rifle purchase from Sato, who was able to get a trio of kills, able to get the run it back already on this bonus round. So we'll see how that comes into play. Can G2 be able to deny that?
Again, that plan for G2 is pretty straightforward, just trying their luck at an on-match push out of the A side. Now, though, serious business. The Odin's already been taken to hand by Trent.
Rifle thrown right back to Sato, so he can try to farm some kills with this, run it back. Be the pivotal piece of LEV's attack side around here to get them over the finish line on a fairly weak bonus buy overall. Just have Neon with that headhunter.
Now, Draw can play off this gate crash essentially for free.
Now, you can see Babyface on this early fight. Okay, just able to get out. Execute going to come in. And look at the power of these Thorns. That's the run it back completely denied.
Yeah, Sato gets out onto the side, but there's going to be nothing to see here, and G2 know they don't have to challenge him. Spike, though, is in here. Neon's been dealt with now, and Baby takes a swing timing. Sheer wall comes up. Leaf's able to deal with Sato in mid, and now there's some rewrap potential for the defenders. Leaf's going to go quickly, though. Flash on in, make use of this runner back now as King is rattling the cage, but he's very low. Needs to try and run some misdirection here. Trent might just spray him down, and the end that he does. That's a second for the Odin. And Blozine at least has the spike to hand, but it's a very messed up A side he's going to find his way forward into.
Should be able to get this plant down, unless there's some kind of crazy Trent spam, but I can't imagine he's even going to risk moving forward until Leaf gets to a closer position. So much damage already dealt to G2, and now the potential for a clutch from Blozine.
Pitter-patter, a little footsteps.
Not one spotted out by Leaf, and easy spam for Trent to close it out. 3 kills, still nothing to scoff at, but there's that Vice value coming into play immediately. The run it back from Sato, 0 value on the push through tree because of Baby Bay.
One enemy remaining.
That stall was pretty high value inside tree. Even the Astro util employed just to make sure G2 could interrupt the spacing. Shield wall also in A main. All of this Vice util is frustrating to play fast into, but that's what Lev's comp wants to do.
Now Baby Bay is on a pretty weak buy. It looks like on account of wanting to get all of his util. So he's just going to be relegated to the Stinger. You know, meanwhile, Lev, they've got an AWP. They're spending a ton of cash into this round.
Attack side off the Neon, though. Ballsy, he's going to be stunned up here. Blozine, though,
wow,
in a great
look
position.
At that. G2 running a very similar trap play to Lev, but with the Yoru instead. Gravwell is perfectly placed for the teleport away from Neon, but they have the contingency. They have Blozine on the watch. And now King expecting some kind of push out on the opposite side of the map, thinking, yeah, someone's probably going to get proactive elsewhere, right? That is the case. So heads up.
That was sick from King. That Aldrone meant that his backup from main was going to be a little bit late, so he goes and takes the fight himself.
Lev still have so much time on the clock as well. They are not accelerating into anything right now. They are exposing these G2 players who are feeling the desperation to playmake in a round that is just slipping out of their hand, right? They got to go for something individually. Lev know that, and they're exploiting that.
I think losing the pushed up player on that B side, the Yoru, put G2 into a spot where they had to put their bodies on the line for that info, and as a result, they're down to 2. No B-side presence to speak of.
And at this point, if you're Trent, just save the Odin probably. I mean,
30 seconds
you're
left.
not really going to want to go for this 2v5. Baby Bay is able to recover a rifle. Can he actually find the timing here? That would be crazy.
All likelihood he ends up being a little too late. Maybe like a double face here in main for Leviathan. No, they commit the Omen.
Looks like he's getting one for
left.
free. Oh, Neon just turned in time.
Oh,
The awareness
Last player
at the
standing.
exact right moment.
And that's definitely going to be the signal for Trent to call cancel here. Nicely done by Leviathan. A real push-pull of a round. Seeing their composition, you kind of think they're full committing. They're going to hit a site hard. They're going to want to try and make use of that pace. But against this Vice comp, they realized that would put themselves at a huge disadvantage.
It was really cool to watch them just fully deny that aggro play through B main from G2 that was sprung off of the chamber presence there from Neon. And now, even though the LEV economy is not out of control right now by any means, they still want to hunt down this Odin.
The tough fight to win there for Trent.
That's nice from Spike. Yeah, just the jump spot into the relay bolt, and Trent is cooked. Odin is gone, and now LEV have an opportunity to try to pad their economy a bit on an anti-eco round. Now that's Spike catching Leaf in the mid-round. That was already the point in the round where G2 were down 2 players, so you can't blame him. He's trying to get something accomplished. We got to get the round back somehow. We got to find a kill. But Spike is just ready. That's a patient Lev round.
Sato's so confident, he's pre-standing.
They're a team that were often criticized for being a little bit too patient in the past, but we are seeing a Leviathan that are way more dynamic in terms of the pace that they can play at.
Now surely G2 don't chance for this push up on the B side again, not with this kind of setup. They might just leave jaw tucked and have him gate crash out.
Yeah, and that is going to be the case. He is going to leave and try to pick up a different lane after not spotting anyone early, and with the gate crash timing being much quicker, just feels incentivized to get out of there much earlier.
There is a pistol crossfire here for G2.
This is one of those chamber stat lines where you are just chilling around the map, finding lurk kills, playing some late rounds, and not dying too much. Neon is putting up numbers.
Let's listen to Leviathan here.
Tá? Tá. Mano, pode ficar ali se quiser. Qualquer coisa. Tá. Tá. Cuidado bem aqui, King.
Mano,
Ok, no meu drone eu quero strafone, Spike. Tá boa.
Sabe da gente.
Drona agora, drona.
Vai estar na frente, Bela.
Tem isso uma mão aqui, vai apagar CC, tá? Fênix aqui.
Ele vai popar. Bora.
Cuidado com o corredor. Posso avancar, vou avancar pra você, viado. Vai quê?
Tô cego.
Tá sozinho, Spike, tá sozinho. Faz tempo pra nós.
Tô comendo. Tem mais um, Fênix. Matei o Fênix. Vou fechar a porta. Eu tô de ult de novo. Passa lá, Blue.
Eu vou contar. Vai fechar pra puxar a calma.
I just love the calm nature of the comms. We could definitely pick that up from it, right? Despite being a team that are, on some of these rounds, playing at a crazy pace, running around with double duelists, and have a bunch of the kind of like players that you would expect to maybe be more excited and crazy in the comms. Maybe a team that could be overcalming because they bring that energy. But no, that was just a very relaxed approach to that anti-eco round. They dismantled G2. It's all good.
I think
man.
he's got an
You
issue
won.
with the big man upstairs. Sato 15 and 12 though. That was obviously a low ball round for G2. One where they just push a player into mid and get him picked off, and it's a full execute. It's now talk guns. Joel's actually picked himself up and up here.
Yeah, was waiting for this moment, but it really just took the G2 economy finally getting to a spot where it could be relevant. You have to imagine that Lev can expect the possibility of an op right now. Leaf is dangerous. A little bit of danger. Yeah, that drops, and Valen isn't ready to assist just yet.
Oh, I love that. Ignore the running back. Oh, Valen, that is gorgeous.
Spike down.
Eventually brought down, but Blozine dies to the Hunter's Fury after being hit with a shock dart earlier. Dangerous there. Yeah, Trent sitting dark as Neon's able to push out, and that Razorvine is a little too slow to stop him.
Problem is, there has to be a spike recovery mission at some point. King is one orb away from the ult to teleport and get it, but it's unlikely that's going to come into play. Baby just works his way around that into the spawn, and he's caught by Neon. His awareness with this AWP on the attack half has really been outstanding.
Risky to go walking like that in a 2v2. Now it's up to Jorgamo. A matter, of course, of swooping in and recovering that spike, but Leviatán has a decent amount of information about the map here.
What do you watch? He's got 3 angles in front of him right now.
Yep.
He's sweating, just trying to pick the right one, hoping that they're going to go to the A side. That's his read. But the intuition is going to fail him in this moment. It's over on the B side that Lev should be getting this. Very free plant.
10 seconds left.
No mechanism with which Jaw can really be disruptive here, and he has to retake with an op.
Yeah, and is it the point in the game where Jaw feels like, I need to take this risk, I need to step up and get this 1v2. I've been quiet in the game so far. Do we really want to go down another round? Do we want to let them get 11?
I mean, he overstayed his gate crash at the start of the round to try and get that mid posting for as long as he could. He's definitely been needing to take some risks. That's one. That's the start. Surely you got to be thinking about Boathouse, but there's Neon. Finds his third.
Fast on the angle. 19 and 6. Crazy stat line from Neon. Again, it's like sometimes when you're playing the chamber, when you're lurking around, you're just catching the rotates. You're always holding down the flank. You're not going down to any pressure that you're feeling. Those kind of trap plays that they pushed on him, he was able to survive, teleport away, his teammates would help him, and then he's there in the late rounds. So he's just never dying. He's playing the most Valorant possible in this game.
And we contrasted it with Baby Bay not being on Chamber on this map, but actually being on the Vice instead and being more utility focused, but it's kind of crazy to see what a Chamber who is on fire can do.
And what have we not seen from Lev? Rushing into a site, letting that Vice util get too much value. You know, outside of the one bonus round, and hey, that was a bonus.
G2 are always pushing off sites, always.
And King is so aware.
This is the kind of round, of course, where they need to get a bit closer with these weapons, but still.
Just feels like so many eco rounds for G2. King flashed off the angle. Neon trying to give him a little bit of help, but you know, ultimately, King is going to be content just giving that space. They've already got the kill. They don't need to refight for A main just yet.
King can be wherever he needs to in a heartbeat anyway with that ultimate, so he does not mind attracting some attention on that A extremity. All the action is building here over towards this tree direction, and well, Leak just can't get anything done. Tries to flash out. Jaw too slow. Can't get back far enough. The spike will catch him. Disastrous round for G2, but again,
he is dominating on this attack side and absolutely fueling the Lev haters that are going to say, well, you won't be able to do that in London.
30 seconds left.
Time will tell whether they're wrong or not, but again, G2 just don't have the economy here to really stand toe-to-toe. Leviatán are going to get a map point.
Yeah, they're going to go for it, but Spike is just going to pad the stats. Looking good on VLR. Instant trade onto Trent. Lev are on match point on their map pick. This is the first time we've seen it from G2 this stage. You know, certainly expected them to lean into the Vice. And I gotta say, one of the hallmarks of Lev's play throughout this stage is that I think they've been one of the best, if not the best team at having protocols for dealing with Vice utility. And they're just playing that on this map right now, playing a patient game. We have not seen that Vice have any impact. There's been moments where Neon has gotten the sheer wall out for free. We're not seeing the Thorns significantly stall out these hits in crucial moments. Lev have completely worked around it.
And Neon has not had this op stripped from his hands really at all this half. Pretty unfazed by the Aldrone. It's already an A hit. Straight on into the site here. G2 have had to allow this to happen by being more concentrated towards mid and B.
Look at the ultimates for G2, though, on this retake. They have the Astral Wall to go down. They can take the guns away with the Steel Garden.
Okay, that's A-man cut off. 2 players inside the side, isolated, but Blozing's able to find Baby Bay amidst all of this now, and Neon's waiting with the tour de force. Jaw probably doesn't like what he sees here with this dimensional drift and has to get the better of Blozing. It's a no-scope to claim the kill. Trent gets active as well. Knows there's going to be players down in hell, and he's found a second. Sato riddled with bullets. And Neon's tucked in the corner. That's a dirty spot to be in. Jaw misses the shot, and King cleans him up. What a decisive way to send a message. Leviatán dominate on Ascent to start this series.
Neon is just swapping between the Tour de Force and the AWP on the last round for maxed out aura points after dropping a billion kills on the map. Insane showing from him.
With hotspawn.gg, Babybase says, the last time we lost to Leviatán earlier this stage, we were experimenting. Well, you're goofing off. We're trying some new stuff. This time, there's no excuses. And now they've lost their first map since G2 stopped experimenting, since they got off their harbor arc, since they went back to the well with what worked for them. So, in his words, no excuses. If this team fancies another America's title, it's time to step up on Pearl.
Not surprised with the comps that we're seeing here. Both of these teams in their last Pearl outing dominated the opposing team. G2, 13-4 win against Under Thieves. LEV, 13-1 win against FURIA.
Oh, that game was...
So, hopefully, we're in for a bit of a banger. If a very stern-sounding Josh RT can get his team back on the right path. Obviously, frustration with their approach to that map, feeling like they didn't stick to the game plan. They did not adapt to the patience of LEV, yeah. And were the team making mistakes that were being exploited, and that's also what resulted in LEV just getting an outrageous amount of first kills.
20-5 was the first kill, first dead. That's kind of a huge amount. That is massive and very, very difficult for G2 to get started on that map in general.
I feel headed into the game today, maybe one of the applicable narratives is, hey, this LEV team, they have so much raw firepower. Will that be enough to overcome the G2 with the elite structure?
Yeah.
But that really wasn't the case on the first map. Obviously, the firepower was there for LEV, but you're not looking at that as the A story as to why LEV won that
And
game.
they were more aggressive on the defense side, using their double duelist comp for pops. On offense, they just sat, waited, and G2 fed them first kills almost every single round.
Now, can G2 bounce back? Can they show that resilience to get to another America's Stage final? Final that they are no stranger to attending and no stranger to winning. They do that with some outrageous consistency, the most winning team in VCT America's history.
That top seed advantage in a best of 5 is insanely helpful. It goes such a long way, especially with Ascent just coming sort of back into rotation. Map pool is going to be really important. Both these teams have their eye on that spot and a day off tomorrow.
I've got my eyes on this Baby versus Neon matchup. Dre again on this Vice. Neon picking up the chamber where he just dropped 21 for 6. Had elite awareness, was killing everybody with the AWP. You're not really going to see Dre with those AWP opportunities on this map. Can he lock things down here like he couldn't on Ascent? Can he switch that up? Lev with a slow little contact take of a main. As they work into this pop, it's a passive G2 just positioning back towards Secret.
Okay, recon there towards the back of the site. Relay bot's going to force the back. Oh, that is just ungodly from Spike. Stepped up, slapped Trent and Valen both down.
Well, there should be your round done. Just the dart bolt slide, and the bolt didn't even connect. Not even necessary.
We've been talking about how Leviatán, when they get to call the pace, Wyatt, they are so dominant. They are so confident.
And look at Lev's maneuvering on the map right now. They've got multiple players set up towards Bard. It looks like they might want to send Spike on the rewrap through Flowers. And they've got a player to fight through main, all while the Gravwell just delays, but G2 with the openers.
Not bad, Scrappy in the post pop, but Sato steps up, so better find himself too. It's all on Jaw. Heard that many times before. Swing out here for King. Jaw ready for it, but now going a little bit low, hoping to sprint that corner.
And Spike was just slowly wrapping around the map. Jaw never expecting that positioning. Gets caught between the two and had no hope of getting that defuse. Hey, G2 kind of make a nice go at it, getting the 2 kills to get back into the site, but ultimately that is just ridiculous.
That tells you everything you need to know. He can't believe it.
And that is a situation where the LEV firepower overcomes all because Spike is just too insane. That second layer of util to refight into Secret did not even connect.
It didn't matter.
It did not matter.
Owner sort of says he doesn't feel like Leviatán have shown much of their attack side on this map. Feels like G2 are still not going to know what to expect. And that round was a good example of this.
Wow, and there's Lev just exposing G2, set up with a gamble stack on a trap play over at B main. They put themselves in no position of real danger, even get a spam kill with blows on the retreat, and are now over to this free A site. They can throw Sato the spike, and he gets the orb. And if he just gets one more kill, run it back on the bonus round.
It's just the Phoenix lifestyle.
Yep.
Endless ults.
Straight chilling. Blows in here, just waylaying G2 further with a couple of shock darts. Neon's here, headhunter through the smoke, yields a frag as well.
Able to get another blows in. I mean, we haven't needed to see it from him today, but he's another guy on this team that we have witnessed his capability of being able to take over a game. Like, you remember that stage game against Envy where it just drops 41 and 17 and absolutely flattened them. He has outrageous aim skill, just like everyone else.
Yep.
But listen, we live in a nerfed initiator world. It's not really his job to go that crazy all the time. And Sato jumps in there to get a kill or die. Doesn't matter. He just wants an orb, and he gets it.
Yeah, he is ready for a run it back or a run it down. In his case, he will certainly be going for the throat against G2 now.
Yep. So Magic King is just going to throw the Phantom over to him and base their game plan around that all.
Bingo. It's exactly the approach Leviatán are going to take up here. Spike's already looked devastating on this map. His 3 kills came from the pistol.
And on that Ascent attack side, I think Lev's only fast exec round was actually the bonus. Everything else was patience and exploiting G2 mistakes.
It's also abusing the op as well, with Neon getting one to hand pretty quickly, and he might be trying to do that too, because he's still sitting on a classic this round. Op rush for the chamber. Here's Spike turning up, and all of a sudden, G2 are on the ropes. Train here trying to play back towards that B side and hoping some of that stall is going to give him some space. Neon also triggers that sheer in towards mid connector and then is happy to play back in the plaza direction.
Yeah, and it looks like they want to just leave Spike as this B main insert while the rest of the team just watch across the map to see if there's any kind of overpush, collect another kill, and then get back. Lev have been able to consistently, across Ascent, now into Pearl, get early openings into the round, slow down the pace, and then capitalize off those early advantages into late round wins. Looks like G2, though, they have the right idea with keeping 2 players on B, thinking that there's going to be a re-hit of some kind. But, wow, Lev, like, even the next level of awareness. They just send out the drone in the fast lane, and now they're getting over towards this A side where there's only Valen.
Yeah,
but Dre cross map can still use his util to support.
Leviatán correctly surmised there's more than just the Vice over at B. They're really keeping their options open here, though.
Yeah, they are really trying to fool this G2 team, catch someone out in the open, but it's Trent who catches blows. The time is just so low.
Oh, King, that is brutal. 14 seconds in the round. Neither bomb side is safe right now, Wyatt.
Really struggling to find where they want to commit. Spike, Neon, the 2 highlight players of the team in this 2 versus 3 on a must-win anti-bonus for G2.
Neon's on the headhunter as well. He's saving down for an op, so this is not a well-equipped Leviatán now, trying to win this round out. And looks like this bonus might have fallen apart. Leviatán getting a little bit too selective about which side to end up on, and eventually the thread pulls apart.
Yeah, it feels like they were trying to mind game G2 maybe a little bit too hard there. Never ultimately getting into a situation where they've got all 4 guys going to the same site, 3 guys going to the same site with 1 maybe trying to cut off rotates. And G2 are able to slowly pick them apart with the better weaponry.
Oh my god.
Much needed round, they only lose 2.
Oh my god, I almost whiffed, bro.
Man, it still feels kind of like even in that statement, in the reaction, the look on Valen's face, there's still some frustrations there.
It looks like it feels like they got off lucky in that round. And maybe if things had gone wrong in that smoke, it could have gotten ugly. Either way, the pressure clearly being felt by G2, but they've got that resilience. They've been here before.
And G2 know that this Neon op is coming. Matter of fact, this is something that last year G2 did a lot to start things off. A lot of Leaf chamber offing on attack, watching B led so fast into this link. Can it be the catch on Leaf? That is so sick from Spike. The way that Lev set this guy up to succeed, and he always knocks it down because the aim is just A1. It's ridiculous, man.
Leaf came into this round with his ultimate ready, and he brought down to 0. No chance to make use of any of those credits. And now this strong mid-control for Leviatán.
Such a crazy sequence of util to get him inserted so deep into the map to find that opener. And now if you're G2, you're desperate to find some information on where these left players could be posted up.
No way Valen's going to check that. It's such a bizarre spot for Sato to be sitting.
Walks out and is exposed. He knows someone could be street, but there's 2 to separate directions he's got to look in, picks incorrectly.
But this is pretty similar to what NRG like to do as well. They set up in a part of the map, and then they reset the round. They just sit.
Yeah, there's a lot of silence in this meta right now. A lot of noise, and then dead quiet. And in the dead quiet, LEV have been absolutely destroying G2 so far today. Execute now into the side. Baby Bay dealt with. Trent forced away, but at least gets the one.
Yeah, this is a tight little angle for Trent to find some shots through. Neon is down, but it's still going to be a safe plant and a fallback to be long for Leviathan. Favored by one now. We're going to have that runner back thrown in by Sato. He wants to get in here and snarl up any retake opportunity, but with Trent falling through mid, should be curtains for Jaw.
Trent just didn't know where to go, wanted to avoid the run it back, trying to get it into street, but King is ready. LEV in the mid-round, just exposing G2. Yep. A desperate for information G2 because they lost so much of the map from that early little set play that LEV activated that catches Leaf instantly.
And that's the dangerous part about Pearl. The rotations are so long. Any information you could kind of get for free is almost always worth it, unless you're like Valen and you walk up into what was basically a crossfire.
I was really heading into this today expecting to see this dominant G2 just continuing the streak that they were on. Like, yes, LEV have looked good in their playoff run, but I think some people would argue too, they were kind of on the softer side of the upper bracket to get here. G2's the toughest team they're playing against, and yet so far feels like they're dominating them harder than they dominated FURIA in their victory over them, than they dominated MIBR in their victory over them. Those were 2-1s. Right now, it looks like they're on to just 2-0 G2. Obviously, it's early days here, but it feels like we've already seen these same flaws in G2 just rearing their head on this map.
And it seems like the frustrations that we heard from the coach Josh for G2 are still present. They don't really know how to respond to this, not pace from Leviathan, but the pace variation.
LEV with that deeper recon lineup are able to work themselves out B long. Pillar clear with that, little cubby cleared with that, and it's another orb for Sato, who's going to try to build up his second running back of this half.
So here's the question. Who's going to push up for that info first for G2? How are Leviathan going to put them under that pressure? They are playing so quiet around the map. There's nervous jiggling here in mid from Trent, trying to see if there's pressure that comes down from Plaza. And it'll come, but belatedly. So much so that Trent turns back and is no longer in a position to watch that push.
Man, honestly, in the silence, I feel like I can hear so many comms from G2 right now on stage, even in a mid-round where effectively nothing is happening. Feels like for them, there is so much to be conscious of. Yeah. Now they have 3 players gathered up towards this A side where also the Vice utility is residing. So maybe this is finally a moment where these Thorns are going to be pivotal. 25 seconds left. LEV get the wall out, get the Thorns out, but they have to exec into a site. G2 are ready for this hit.
LEV don't quite have the info, and G2 haven't given themselves anything for free this round, but Aspas puts it out still. Running and jumping, gets the better of Baby Bay. You'd always imagine he was looking for more there. Leaf and Trent out of the picture now, it's on Jaw. Valen very, very low tucked, and his position is noted. Here's that Cosmic Divide for G2, trying to complicate this further for Leviathan. And Blozine has to work this now. Neon tapped out there, was stunned up briefly, but look at him trying to play that wall with the shorty. Far from done. Jaw with a tap, and of course, his post-plant util starting to become useful. Trying to get through this wall of Leviathan, chomping at the bit. Jaw gets it a half now, and all alone, he'll eventually be overwhelmed.
Valen on such low HP there. G2 have the read on the situation. They have all the players in the right spot on the map. They do it on a round where they don't have the best buy, which makes things tough, and unfortunately a kill that you have to feel should have gone Baby Bay's way. Somehow goes to Spike. Ridiculous movement on the Neon with the slide, with the spray. It's just crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's just crazy. And Josh has to get in the mix. I cannot imagine he is going to give any different reaction or different emotion than we saw from him in the interview with Riv before this game started. Again, it was, I would, obviously some level of frustration, but just like this stern nature to the way that he was talking. It's like also a level of disappointment with it and just expecting so much more from his team, which he should. They're G2, but
being in Josh's position, looking into this game, seeing some rounds, yes, where G2 maybe get nervous, and they take risks for info that's punished. Fair enough. But around like that, they're disciplined, they're trying to rotate in advance. Trent goes around towards that A site and is ready. And they just lose out from that individual ability from Leviatán to execute.
Yeah, I believe also in the midst of that, there was another G2 player wrapping back through Art who gets caught. And that's another point that we've seen on either side of Ascent. Like, people that are trying to flank on G2 are getting caught so consistently by LEV. They've got some serious awareness as far as that goes. Looks like they want to default over towards B into getting another orb for Sato here, while Neon watches, listens for any kind of action towards A. All right, here's a set piece from G2, running it all the way down mid, Jaw into the spawn, spots out Blazine.
A lot of pressure on Blazine also. He's burying a spike right now and he wins it out. That's a crucial fight to try and tamp this aggression from G2. But they've lost a lot of map control, and now BabyBay just fills that space that Jaw took.
Yeah, he could catch up. Beautiful timing, Valen in the smoke.
Spraying for it here. Sato caught out, but there's still the little issue of Spike, who is at large, now out inside the site. Found by Valen. And this util has done enough here to keep the rest of Leviatán at bay. Finally, something works out here for G2. And it's a hell of a leather push straight down mid.
Yep, set play out of the timeout. Jaw doesn't get the kill, but BabyBay is still just able to capitalize off of all of the info that Jaw kind of gained in that play by getting the push through, lead catching Neon. Huge in that A main. So 1v1 isolated situation. Also, finally around for G2 where that sheer wall is dividing a duelist from the pack on that attempt into the site. No, it's rough for G2. We haven't heard a hot dog yet.
That's true. That means they're not in a great place mentally, I feel. Might be a few rounds away from hot dog. Leviatán posted up here. Well, damn, that's one way to deal with a Prowler. This kind of weaponry, no other choice. Haunt also dealt with.
They've discovered where the operator is.
Yes.
So that's crucial for G2, who so far have not really been feeling too much pressure from Neon. Not off to a hot start here on the second map.
The response, though, by G2 is just to pull straight off A main. No need.
Yeah, we have seen no desire from either team to go for the all-out A main brawl.
Yeah.
But it feels like in this meta with these comps, like, how much do you want to commit to that fight, knowing that the other team could also full commit? It can get really awkward. Teams kind of trying to tease out util, things like that.
So this is the second time we've seen this happen. The sheer wall in Art is separating Leviatán, but G2 aren't in a position to actually do anything about this. It's just for information. Oh, I like this little trick up through connector here.
30 seconds
Leaf was just trying to chase them down, but he can't catch up. 25 seconds on the clock. LEV have been playing the clock down so low on these execs. Now trying to get into B. Thorns are popped.
Oh, he's in Hall. How is spiking in Hall?
He's just caught. There's nowhere for him to play.
There's nobody
Neon
going.
catches a rotate opposite side of the map.
And now you've got to work from the outside of this B site in. Down to 3 players at G2. This is such an important round, and they, frankly, have already let it slip. Valen here and BabyBay together, I think, might need to try and salvage what they can. But in their 2 versus 5, playing from outside the site, with no real utility of consequence, they're going to walk away.
Yeah, at this point, only one option to survive and buy into this next round. This time playing down low on the time absolutely works out for LEV. That split back over towards the B side. They bait out the run it back from Leaf, completely avoid it, and then get into the split where they had one player all the way, or all the while rather, inserted down B main. Just playing to the space that that one solo guy has gotten on B. They can work right back into it, and you see the position that it put Jaw in. He's pinched.
He's forced
when that
out of
exec
Hall.
comes in. Yeah, he's forced out of Halls because of util. And then he's just caught between 2 players.
And I
No
saw
hope.
some Vice util thrown up on that site to try and slow the push down on B. Didn't do anything.
Teleport's ready.
Like, Spike got into Hall so easily. And that's the frustrating part. I feel like when, like, you know, Josh said in the interview, we need to get our utility cook. Like, we need to actually be able to make use of this. Otherwise, why are we playing Vice instead of Chamber ourselves?
Really sees over top, is going to get Jaw posted up. 1v1 against Neon. Does he walk into the crosshair? Oh my god, he takes the fight and wins it out, but fully blinded. He's just caught on the wall. So a nice quick flash from Sato is going to even things up. Sato with the run it back, by the way, has been holding on to that since the last round.
This congregation, though, by Leviatán means there's a lot of map that they need to re-clear. They're picking that plaza area because it could easily be a push-up from Art.
And last time it was leaving King as the insert towards B main and working back to him on the exec. This time, leaving him at A main and working back maybe into the exec on that site as they want to re-clear through Art. Trent taking contact so Leaf can throw out a little pop flash around this corner, try to catch someone in mid.
The timing's not going to be here. Trent's got off the line.
Away, yeah.
This is dangerous. Leaf's going to have to win this out on his own, and it's just 1-for-1. That's not really enough. Trent might have been spotted there as he heads over towards the A side. He's the only player there. He's got to stand tall. Spike's brought down. Brazil wants to trade it, ignoring the Horde, and now gets Leviatán into A.
I respect that confidence from Trent, taking the fight to them, not trying to back up. Goes for his, and those were some crucial kills to keep G2 alive in this round. Working back into the 2-on-2.
These are the kind of clutches that Josh said they really needed to win a couple of more of on Ascent. Both Leviatán players out towards Art, and Valen still standing means that there is some obscuring util, some controller util that can be thrown down.
At some point, G2 need to bait out some of this Astra util. You know there's going to be a grab wall towards the spike. They want to clear out Church first. They know that that's safe.
Okay, Razor Vine heard there. Valen has to get off the spike here. Shocked out to combine it into the smoke. They go. It's Bozine able to get rid of Baby Bay. Valen on his own. Captain's performance required here. But Bozine knows better than to give him a free kill. There's Valen. Couldn't get it to half.
Just not time. They couldn't get it to half because of the grab well. Lev are nice on the moments where they choose to fight there. Baby Bay wants to make the play, get into the smoke, but he's caught by the duo. He can't get a single kill there. Hasn't really been his day. Respect to Trent for trying in the mid-round. He had some sick kills in that Art fight.
And it's just
not enough.
It's a grinding around. In fairness, Jaw opens up by getting that first kill on Neon. It's traded. Basically, every kill that G2 find is traded out.
I mean, hell, that was a bold kill of Jaw to get as well. Neon has been playing there consistently with the AWP, and he just jiggle peeks, deletes him. If he gets out, totally different round, but here we got Lev. Right back to this early B main control. And often you're going to see a G2 that are afraid, kind of timid to re-clear into this space because Neon could be watching it with an AWP. On this round, he's got the Outlaw just due to the state of the economy from G2, but same difference, right? Oh, you want to get some of that space back? All right, well, there could be a scope just staring at you literally anywhere on the map. You don't know where he's going to be at.
That's what they fell into in a sense so often.
I mean, even though, as it stands, Lev have just very consistently in this half been playing the trio, B main, get the space, get Sato and Orb, Neon watch A, cool, but... And Thorns getting baited out by that drone, a 1-for-1 util exchange.
That's conditioned because the last time they tried this, it was an immediate fast lane and Spike ran into the site. It's one of those slow rounds we saw on Ascent.
Right here. Spike drop.
G2, though, they're not offering too much up here. They prowled into Art just now, so they are still being able to use some of that util for info. And they just have to get rid of the anchor here. Here's the fast lane coming a little bit later than expected. And Spike is going to be in there. Straight away, Steelguard and Popstar is going to go with it with the right clicks. And he might just have what it takes. Blozine's able to deal with Baby Bay. That's the Vice out of the picture now. So that center util is gone. And Neon's Outlaw brought into the round for just such a reason. Sings out. Time a little bit short here. Trent trying to be disruptive, but eventually will be stopped. Leviatán post 7. They've got an answer for every question.
Big set piece exec is more than enough against G2, lacking in the weaponry there. Steel Garden, not enough. I like the usage of it from Baby Bay. That gives them an opportunity when they have anchors on the site. That was a pretty big 1v1 for Sato to win on, please. Cut off by that wall. Able to deal with Valen. Lever looking way too good. And again, last map, this was a question that Riv asked in the halftime interview about Josh using both timeouts in the first half. He's doing it again. He has to take a timeout here. The deficit is too great.
I mean, and then Josh just really has to hope that G2 can set the pace, win the pistol in the second half, and he has to take his hands off the wheel. Now, though, we've seen a couple of, honestly, different looks from Leviatán. G2 are being a little bit safer in terms of how they try and get that mid-round info, but it does mean they're getting executed on at a numbers disadvantage. They can't really stack sites. They can't really get advanced notice on this stuff because they're afraid of the Outlaw or the Op picking them, punishing them for contacting up into these zones that they don't have info about.
Yeah, there's been less willingness for those like aggro pushes that we saw on Ascent, and it's one of the reasons that we're not seeing Neon getting as many kills right now. He's having less opportunities to just shoot players that are pushing onto him, less angles to easily pick off rotators compared to Ascent, but it's just his mere existence is still a massive factor in this game, and it is allowing LEV to be in these positions where they're getting big execs off against a couple anchoring players on these sites, and if you're in a situation where you're just like one of two or so anchors dealing with the Phoenix Neon comp, you're so fried.
Here's that defense side set up in A main to slow things down, but
sees Molly, but they can't even hold on to A main. LEV just go into this full re-clear of the space, so they try to push it into the exec as well. Yep, that's going to be the case. Leap up close, can he get anything done? He's stunned in the corner, pinged as well.
Not detected though, he's still able to win out against Sato. Trent as well, wallbang on towards Spike. Now can try to fall back with this Nightfall in play. That is another very important kill, and Trent now feels confident staying. He's the only player here. It's about trying to stall and be a real nuisance.
Yeah, the only player, but he's definitely been the most reliable for G2 so far. Baby able to win that 1v1 against Neon, and surely not for Blozine. Gets the first. Damaged up by Trent. And Jaw on that angle cleans things up. One of the only rounds where LEV work into just a fast, big hit straight off the jump, and G2 are able to stabilize off of it. Leaf with a highly important first blood. He's in the corner. He's pinged. He got hit by the relay bolt, and he still goes 1 for 1.
It's funny, it almost feels like G2 prefer this. They prefer to be run at as opposed to an ambiguous slow round from Leviatán that culminates in a set play.
Also, if there's anyone I'm not trying to fight,
just shift the momentum right now. We're winning.
It's Trent. He has been the player on G2 finding the impact kills. LeBron just back to the fast A main take.
Not much to work with though.
Running it down again. They go past the shear wall into the Thorn. Spike is completely stalled out.
You'd be forgiving for not expecting him to do it twice, but this is Leviatán after all. Leaf gets some info. Sees on Spike, decayed down. When not the Spike carrier, so he'll just be sat there until Trent picks him off.
Yeah, takes spam down. Did G2 just try to flood into this? Now it's a fight from LEV. I like this aggression from Sato, but he's going to get caught with that util out.
Yeah, nice little fall back from G2 not to take the fight against the Phoenix. That was beautiful. Now it's on Neon. This is a low-bought round for Leviatán, and G2 may have found a foothold.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some rifles for LEV. They really just keep it simple again, and it's giving G2 an opening, I feel like, not just in terms of getting some rounds, but emotionally for the team. Remembering what it's like to actually win some rounds here. You can hear them getting more excited on the stage. Valen trying to be a leader, not just in terms of the IGL, but an emotional leader for this team, get them excited. I feel like LEV have given them a bit of an opening here.
With a round like this, Leviatán obviously still trying to force the issue as we head into our last of the half. Look at this push up from G2. All right, giving Ascent to a degree, but Spike was ready for it now. Flash in for Leaf. He wants to keep refighting into this space, but the smoke's going to make that hard. Straight into that Vice util, and Baby collects 2.
G2 with a 4 fight in mid. Ready for LEV to be in that area of the map. Leaf fast on the trade.
G2 are not leaving.
Now, this has been decisive for G2 to make a statement at the end of this half that was completely out of control for LEV. And now they have a real chance in this game. If they can close this one out as well. Very weak King. Just 36 HP with that Stinger should realistically be a non-factor. You're looking at Neon, but yeah, when Dre gets the op in his hands, he is insane with it.
4 in the round. First one was Valen getting them piped up. Now Baby with 4 kills to end the half. Now it cost them 7 rounds, 2 timeouts, and probably a large number of hair follicles. But G2 have been able to make this much more interesting affair. This is beautiful from Baby. Just slapped them down and getting a reprise of the op roll at the end of the round 2.
Good to see it in his hands, because you don't see it a lot when he's playing this Vice. But he is fantastic with it, man.
We got more to come here on Pearl. 7-5, Leviatán lead by 2, but G2 have found a bit of spark. Let's see if they can carry it over.
Red Bull gives you wings. I mean, yeah, when the guys are standing up on our side, on the G2 side, I'm standing up, Leaf standing up, even Bay. I mean, once you see Valent standing up, that's when you know we're in flow state. You see all the young guns on LEV, they're all standing up after a nice shot. They're saying they're them, they're him, they're whatever the case is. I think we just gotta keep showing that energy back until somebody backs down.
The call came in from the captain. Valent said, we need to shift the momentum right now. We are winning. Now, he didn't mean on the scoreboard, but in terms of the texture of the game, the flow of the rounds, he could tell that G2 was starting to turn the tide. And they didn't have a whole lot of rounds left in that first half, but they had enough to get to 5. And that keeps it nice and tight here. 2 rounds separate G2 and Leviatán, the latter, who are threatening to end this series in 2 maps and book their spot as top seed into our final.
Yeah, not only did G2 win those rounds, but we saw them begin to pounce on opportunity and get really proactive fighting against LEV in those rounds. It's not just winning them, it's how they did that I think can inspire some confidence here to keep the comeback going. Only a 2-round deficit as they attempt to win this pistol. Baby Bay just the loose end in mid as the rest of the team work their way into A.
Very familiar position here for Baby Bay. Saw that around 12.
You had both LEV duelists close up, but they can't go for any kind of flood. The rotates were not going to be there in time. They have to play this for a full retake.
Relay Bolt going to slow them up further. It's going to be traded, though. Trent's able to fall back to Art here now.
And the spike is planted fully for Art. Crossfire in church, majority of G2 playing there, and Baby Bay trying to threaten that deep wrap, but it is spotted out, so he just has to group up with the rest of the team.
Oh, nice from Jaw, emerges at just the right time, looking for more, and yes, G2, it's hammer and anvil stuff as they collapse onto the side, but Blozine's already found himself too. Trent and Baby Bay can work in, but they got the smoke in their face, and King's down to 10.
The spam is good, and it might just also knock King over. He is way too low on HP. Baby Bay has to jump in there on account of the tap, and yeah, that 10 HP not going to be enough for King to survive. Again, it's kind of what I was just talking about. It wasn't just about G2 winning rounds, it was how they won them. We see that again here. Yeah, they have multiple players stacked up for Art. The spike is planted for them, but they still decide to take the aggressive line. When Jaw's in sight, he gets his 1. He's sliding around, he's distracting. They don't just try to buy their time, leave him in there to let's see what our Neon can do and play for spam. We've seen a lot of that from teams in this stage. No. They get out of the smoke. They fight together with Jaw to actually help trade him out, get more kills, and then they're able to win out that round.
Neon pushed up here. This is more than we saw from G2 on the defense side. He wants to post in A main. Maybe part of the plan just to make sure the right side is stacked. There'll be nothing to see here.
That full gamble doesn't work out. At least it gets Sato a spike. Other side of the map. Leaf is going to get the orb, of course, so that is orb for orb on either side. And G2 get this B site for free. And we'll just kind of see, honestly, if Leaf can stack up more kills, if Sato can try to get closer to his ult as well.
So how impressive the Phoenix can really be on this map when he gets going. Sato here perched up. Brought down by Leaf, so notch another one up towards that next run it back. And here Leviatán probably just priced into perishing to the spike. Neon watching in case there's like a really bizarre wide flank.
I was waiting to see if Leaf was going to trade the gun with Dre, and that is the case. So he can just run in there with the ghost, and it doesn't matter if he dies. So at the very least, he's just going to try to get one more orb on the board. Haunt to supplement the attempt to get an orb as well.
Should we swing off this, but oh, okay, G2 had an opportunity there to sort of stem the bleed, but Leaf and Jaw get themselves up, and that'll be that, folks. G2. Great pistol building into the second half of now evened up the game.
We'll see if G2 tried to do something proactive early to get the orb, but this is one of those situations that I was kind of talking about where it's like, all right, do you try to fight for the A main orb? The defenders know you might try to fight for the A main orb to get it early, so do they just have the play ready where they're going to dump all their util on you? Like, it can get a little bit sketchy.
But again, yeah, getting those runner backs coming thick and fast is also important. You've got to balance that risk. Leviatán here, of course, can finally buy properly. Reasonable bonus, though, from G2. And a pretty light presence in towards A main, so it'll be LEV trying to assert themselves there.
G2 also finally finding themselves in a situation where they don't have to worry about Neon having an op. Can't afford it, so he'll be on the rifle in A main. He can post up close. He can try to get his one and teleport away. Surely going to get flashed off this angle, though.
Yeah, flash and click the fingers. He'll head back to Kansas.
G2 want to accelerate. That's a great stun onto Neon. Is he going to get caught? Can he still get one?
Oh, he actually was switching weapons by the looks.
Jaw gets away. Spike couldn't get that trade.
Also, those relay bolts aren't going to cut the mustard for him. They don't set anything up. They will at least let Spike get a bit further forward, but now there's going to be a problem here over towards Flowers, and Jaw comes alive! King's able to shut him down, but the damage is already done. His first buy round for Leviathan has been shattered.
You can feel that G2 really have captured the momentum ever since that one-round win. Little speech from Valen. They start playing more aggressively together. And right there, they just have the protocol for dealing with the chamber, pushed up solo A main. Okay, we know where he's teleporting back. He's getting stunned. We have like the ping on him as well. The haunt is going back there. And Neon is just caught. He can't do anything in that situation. G2 are given an opportunity to activate a little play like that. They take it with zero hesitation, and that puts them in position to win the round.
And it's just as well because their window to do that was pretty short. Spike was on his way there. He just couldn't make it in time.
And that gives them the opening, and then obviously on top of that, Jaw just goes crazy, close up. Gets the following 2 kills playing solo in Flowers, which is insane. Jaw has definitely been under some scrutiny this stage for not putting up crazy numbers on the Duelist. He had an insane performance at Santiago. He's the 5th highest rated player there. And I'd never personally really buy into the Jaw is a problem during the stages. He's not putting up the numbers, because has it ever been of consequence for G2 not making it to a global? No. And then at the global,
and then he gets to a global?
Yes. Yep. So for me, it hasn't been a big deal. Like, that's something I'll worry about that if we see G2 not in a position to actually qualify. But that is not been the case since he has joined this roster.
In kickoff, it's
actually just nothing but net in Americas for G2, so.
No, they dropped that guy.
That's crazy.
G2 haven't shown a whole lot of leg this round. It's going to be jump peaks for King that will confirm they're heading over towards B. We'll have B on control now. Look at this, Leviathan, they're not convinced yet. Finally starting to see a rotate over by Spike. He's got the Phantom though. Dangerous weapons to walk in, and Spike is too slippery. Leak there though, it's a freebie. Spike taken very low after that encounter.
Even at that for Leaf, he just does so much damage to one of the 2 rifles with the run it back and gets all the space. Hey, that works out. Has to swap it over to Neon, who would love to get involved in this game. He has not been a factor so far.
Pouring out of the side of Leviathan, they're trying to get past that Nova Pulse by the looks of here. They are trying to swing these corners, but G2 are ready for them, and there it is! Leaf notches 2. And G2 have got themselves out to a reasonable lead all of a sudden.
Posted up deep in the site, players and halls, they're fighting together, they're swinging together. Now we're seeing that high level of fundamentals, even in these late round situations, no hesitation. I feel like you can, again, you're just seeing like a different disposition from the players when they're on the cams. It's just like slight little differences, but you can already see, I feel like, more confidence on Valen's face.
I mean, he's not looking relieved when they win the round. So I think that tells you everything you need to know. Manon also performing very well. 14 and 7 for the Astra. Okay, so we see a fast lane in towards mid. Very aggressive rotate here for Jaw. He will cause a lot of problems for Leviathan. They do not know if he could emerge via Flowers. Leaf might be trying to sell something here as well. He falls pretty quickly.
Jaw was able to pass by the trip that was over in street. So Lev, no idea that he is on this flank right now. And he could crack open this B site, allow the players from main to just run in for free.
Oh, these moments are so rare, but when they happen, they are back-breaking. Now, Jaw, under no threat here of any reprisal, took down the only player on their B side. The contact line for Neon was dismantled. Only 5 kills for him this map.
Trent still with his C's to play with when they try to get back into this side as well. Could be some valuable stall.
Sato's run it back, neutralized. Still a 4v4, but Leviathan are not in a good position. No map control, running now into these health lines.
And those are situations where G2 drive. Just multiple players swinging together, the 3-2-1s, the countdown. They know someone is there, they have the sense. Blazin is dealt with, and then they wrap back to the site, deny every LEV player trying to get out from Street. This is what, an 8-round run for G2, down 7-2. The game has not been close.
And honestly, it kind of changes the context of the 2 timeouts being taken on that first half of the map. I think Josh really wanted to make sure G2 had a foothold, some number of rounds to work with.
Yeah! Yeah!
And 5 was enough coming into the half. There's going to be a timeout for Leviatán here. Owner needs to get into the year.
Still don't think we've heard a hot dog.
No, still not. But they're not.
Maybe if they win the game.
They're not
Maybe when they win the game. No,
yeah,
they're not in the clear yet.
Hot dog zone yet. That's more of like a we're pumping these fools, you know.
And we'll see if Owner can be the difference maker, as LEV have just been getting torched since round 10. The game has not been close whatsoever.
And Owner led this team in their VCT debut back in 2023. An ill-fated campaign, to say the least. There was blame being thrown around, a lot of people just wondering why this team, who looked like superstars, couldn't generate anything.
Yeah, they started super strong that year as well, and then Owner made some questionable comments about his approach to coaching that landed him under some serious scrutiny, but hey, he's worked his way back here, just grinding with the Leviatán Academy team, rejoining, bringing up Blows and Neon, and it has rejuvenated LEV, rejuvenated his career. We'll see if it'll be a factor for them as they try to get back into the game that they had full control of once upon a time. I mean, it feels like ages ago as we have watched G2 just crush them on every single round with some serious aggression and proactivity in every little chaotic moment. They are dictating the pace.
Neon here mindful that G2 have protocols to clear him from this position, and that he'd have to fall back in a hurry. So he's actually deepening his angle here, while still making sure he can get out of dodge. About to get it. Here's the Prowler, followed by the Flash. This time, he couldn't get away.
Yeah, it takes a bit more of a risk, overstaying his welcome, hoping that on a low buy round, maybe he can find a kill, right? But that's not going to be the case. Recon gets some pings, but the Sheriff is not the ideal weapon to get a spray down kill.
Time for the Eco Cobra to strike.
Yeah, Neon went for the spot, but Baby Bay was not seen, and so he was getting some free kills.
Okay, Blowzine. Some sharp shooting there, but
one enemy remaining.
Still a virtually unwinnable scenario for him. And Elite will descend. G2. That's 11 rounds.
It just feels destined that we're going to map 3. LEV now on the full buy, though. This is the round that they were actually cooking up in the timeout. The owner's going to have some influence on. 6 shots from Blowzine, but not enough here. Baby Bay just
that was so good.
Makes it easy on the flank. Finally, the proud father of the team after many stern talks and much frustration, a smile for Josh.
So let's see the fruits of that timeout. The Leviatán go for an aggressive pop. Yeah, Neon posted pretty far forward here.
Yeah, but you're not going to get that shot off against a Neon on the opposite team, right? King in the smoke, that's nice.
Okay, King actually does get caught by that Nightfall. So has to fall back and he's decayed, so he just ends up dying to the Razorvine instead. Leaf is deep.
Yeah, look at this wrapping through the site. Spray down onto Spike, who was a little bit low on account of the thorns as well.
Honestly, they can do no wrong right now, G2. Perfect. Look at, they're going to leave the B site, but it was actually pretty early to push through the wall by Sato. Leaf's been gobbled up.
In the midst of the chaos, Valen is trying to expose a part of the map here towards Sewer. Here's the rotate. Is he going to get the catch?
No!
Oh my God!
That's 2 for Neon. Still a little bit of reluctance for Leviatán about hitting onto this A side of the map. They are going to hear, though. This is where Trent lands.
Now, Dre not the one getting the plant, so Steel Garden not immediately a factor in this post plant. Maybe if he gets a kill, there will be a timing for that to happen, where they're trying to get on the spike and they're going to be forced to be within the range of it. Trent looking like he's teasing a rewrap through Sewer. Is he committing to it? Yeah, it looks like he's going to.
I think that Leviatán had to spend util on clearing Secret. So they really don't know much of what's happening over towards A main, and yeah, this rewrap is sick.
With that plant there, they're going to imagine someone has to be an art, surely, right? But no, not the case at all. It's a rewrap.
He knows Neon, aware of it. Okay, Trent now's been detected as he pushes towards the side, but Sato! What? He gets the stick! A little bit of a misstep there for G2, just as they were poised to take this game away.
Yeah, they try to hit them with something unexpected, with Trent wrapping all the way around, not playing in art with the spike planted for art. So I'm not mad at the deception attempt, but it does result in Trent being unable to spam Sato in that position on the spike. And Dracod in main, yeah, he gets his one, but when he's forced to reload, the spike is just being stuck, and there's nothing they can do.
Bit of a bump in the road there for G2, but still, they are well armed, have important ultimates. But Leviathan have been given a sniff here, a chance to close the series still rests in their hands. Of course, Neon is going to look to be proactive, as humanly possible with this op. Obviously not posted up on that A main area where G2 can actually walk down with a bit more impunity.
Now G2 know there could be someone posted up in A main. There's potential for that. There's potential for someone to be boxed, but it's fully cleared out. And they do have a Steel Garden and the run it back to play with on this exec. Try and force everyone from LEV out of the site, maybe with that Phoenix ult. Save the Steel Garden for later. Trent sends the Prowler into mid, trying to make it seem like maybe there's a reclear there. Maybe there's going to be an attempt to go for some kind of art split, with LEV knowing that A main is just completely open for the taking, right? But that is not the case. LEV were in mid. They have a player up close on A main. Leaf trying to make his way through with the run it back. The spike is tucked in the corner, but he's slammed down by Jaw.
Yeah, Spot's notorious, and we've seen a lot of value gained there, but that's going to be sprayed in advance. Pulsar handles Jaw deftly. Doesn't want to push up here. Okay, Steel Garden makes this a little bit more complicated, but there's no escaping it right now. You've got to commit for Leviathan. And that's Sato's run it back. That'll be dispelled.
Yeah, can't get anything done with just the classic. Baby exposing a little bit of an opening. Perfect timing on this for the easy double. Wow, Sato gets the one, but Leaf just as fast on the trade, so it doesn't even matter.
It still cripples Leviathan. King has to try and fight his way back in here. The money, terrible. Leviathan are going to have to let this one go and hope that they can force overtime. But G2, that run, that 8-9 round run that we saw, starting at the end of that first half, have been juggernauts coming back into this game.
And we're seeing that individual confidence from G2 as well in a moment like that, with Baby just taking the timing, the space through Flowers, and gets the flank off.
Match point.
Moments like that, gaining further advantages for the team as well.
Yeah, this went down, of course. Yeah, this is just being checked for. You cannot afford
that's smart.
to let that spot
that is historically the most deadly anchor spot on Pearl, I swear. And it's not even close.
Backstabber. The backstabber.
Yeah, well, he had a chance to double down on that little late rewrap. Ended up being a trade, but still more than enough. Timeout here. Obviously, all of G2's used in that first half to try and stabilize. Leviathan here, though, have almost run out of rope.
Look, we have definitely gotten a flip on the Sentinel success from map 1 to map 2. Baby Bay has been on point here, and G2 have not been giving Neon those same openings when he had the operator, or hadn't given them the same openings rather. Most of that was on the first half. Neon a lot of attack hopping, and G2 were just not giving him the chance to get kills. They weren't playing into it, they weren't feeding into him. Wasn't able to catch rotators like he could on Ascent either, and it's resulted in him having pretty little impact overall outside of, maybe that one op round on defense, the one that they were able to get round 19. G2 are looking good to take this map 3 split. We've seen a lot of LEV there. They do look strong on the map, so despite G2 winning here, they're obviously not out of this just yet with the grand finals on the line. See if LEV can try to bring this back to OT, though. It'll require 4 in a row.
It has to start on a round that, frankly, isn't well bored, at least a tour de force for Neon. He's going to be holding this big long angle, but not exposing himself early, just oh my goodness, a jump and peek, and there goes Leaf. Now he'll fall back off this as he is marked up. Prowler going to come in over the top, and Neon's fallen back to Halls. Safe spot, surely, and once again, the corner is checked, but Neon is dishing it out! 3 with that tour de force! Surely not more! The oil slick going to make it hard to close the gap on him, and Trent has to wrap to the site itself. Another one for Neon! Surely you're going to get them all! Sato chimes in. And in the most unlikely fashion, Leviathan stay in the game.
And in contrast to the attack side, when G2 are forced to go into this op at times, not knowing that it's going to be there, Neon is cooking. That is so sick. He has been the catalyst of the 2-round wins that LEV have gotten on this defense side. It has just been his op on both of them.
What? What was that?
Teleport's ready.
A slower start to this game. I think at one point Neon was 5 in 10, but he just saved Leviathan this map. 3 more.
Look at the state of G2's econ as well. That's really not good. They're walking into 3 LEV players here.
Damage on Jaw.
Back. Oh, Sato, he is just caught. Spike wants to help, but he cannot.
So coordinated from G2. Plenty of guns there to trade off Jaw. Neon going to be stuck here. Yeah, awkward. Probably going to take a bite, and he is barely alive. And this is all before G2 have committed to the side. Should be obvious that Neon is stuck in this corner.
Every
G2
player.
have just slow it down.
Every player from LEV just here to greet them. So there's still a chance for the defenders. Oh my God!
Again, I was thinking it would happen again. Blue Z for 2. And there's Valen shutting it down. Could have gone either way that round, I'll be honest. But an important recovery midway through that first half from G2. Forced to sit out of a Masters in his own home country, King and the rest of the Leviathan have certainly flipped the script on their performance coming into this stage. And now, of course, with their presence secured in London, it's about getting to the top of the hill. It's about proving to themselves they can do it against the team who, honestly, they have had to face off against in many of these late-stage games of consequence in the past. These two teams are 4-4 historically. King and Valen have tangled so many times before. And now it's time to find out who wins the war of ideas. The split is on the docket.
The last time this LEV team got a trophy was against G2 in the 2024 Americas Stage 2 Grand Final. A 3-1 victory for King, for LEV. Since then, this league has been G2's domain. They have ruled over us for over a year. They didn't get first at kickoff. Obviously, the system a little bit different, but they want to bounce right back and get this stage trophy. Something that Des kind of talked about. Dre wants to lift it with the team this time as a player, playing with them during the stage, but not during the playoffs because Leaf came back. This is his opportunity to make it to the finals, playing with the team and lifting the trophy himself, right? Contributing in that way. He has been so good for this team this year. It's outrageous. I mean, his whole story, obviously, from pro on FaZe Clan to caster for the league to back to playing with G2 as a sub to playing with them for real, and for my money, being their best player this stage and the best Vice in the league.
Yeah, last year he carried that trophy, the Stage 2 trophy with him. He came out with us, he ate cereal out of it, he took photos with it. This time around, he's going to really feel like he truly owned it if he can hoist it.
It feels like there's a chip on his shoulder, too, with having a lackluster performance at his first global in Santiago after a phenomenal kickoff. But now I think they've got him at his best, locked into this Sentinel role. He's playing Vice pretty much everywhere. Chamber on one map where he gets to op. Last time on Split, he dropped 27 for 14 against Cloud9. He is so good on this map, and it might be an opportunity for him to show it straight away as LEV heading towards this A side where he's anchoring an elbow.
And as the wall comes down, they'll take some pot shots. As Leaf already knocked to half. Haunters to check these close corners, and on the site we go for Leviathan. Leaf though re-emerge. Was able to find Pulsar. Is there more though where that came from? Baby Bay a little caught here as deep in the elbow goes Spike.
Yeah, just a slow wrap from Spike, silently getting into elbow after making a lot of noise exploding onto the site. G2 are going to be wrapping through main, one player through screens, and eventually going to need to deal with King, who is posted up in heaven. Spike not planted exactly for him, though, so could be a situation where it's hard for him to get involved.
Might catch the cross, though, at the very least. Valen trying to amble his way out onto A. Neon reveals himself there, baited out by Trent.
One enemy
Can he trade in the end? King does get active and involved from heaven in the end.
Yeah, he finds his moment earlier in the round when he needed to take it, knowing that he can't really be some kind of weird late round factor with the Spike not planted for him, right? So he gets that moment to set up the cross from heaven, 2 free kills into main.
Oh, this takes a nice timing here. Off contact from Neon in main.
Yeah, credit to Spike, who got that really crucial second kill onto Dre to fully open up the site. Just switching up the pacing with the walk through elbow. G2 set up for the big B main fight. a counter to LEV's tendency to go into this B main default frequently on this eco. They just want to go all out on this thing. We'll see if it ends up working out for them.
Okay, Paint Shell Tear's going to punish Spike. He's got nowhere to go. Caught out by that Seize. And Joel's going to be able to deal with him. Wants a bit of the orb, knocks himself sidewheel with that satchel. The rest of Leviatán aren't really trying to get too much more involved here. G2 able to really just hold this B main control now.
They're hoping that there would be a G2 over push. Maybe an attempt to recover the gun, but it's just a stinger, so I don't think they need to go too crazy on that.
The Arcros at their backs. We might see a multi-swing on this corner. Oh, it's a disaster! Sato gobbles them down. That's the player, by the way, with the ultimate you want to get lots of, so
yeah.
Worst case.
We have seen at least 2 other Sato bonus round run it backs, if not 3, but definitely 2.
About as good as it gets for Lev. My God.
Yep, and well, Jawhog got a couple orbs, but now he's 30 HP on the run back. I mean, there's been much discussion on this split map, courtesy of TMV in a great video that he made, going into some pretty extreme detail about how LEV have been playing this attack side, how they've been running this split default where they're posted up in B main to try to get the voice wall out on 24 of 36 attack rounds that they've played. And sort of the surprise at no team being able to directly counter it, right? They've still been winning. They're they're 3-0 on this map. And even within those rounds, they won 17 of 24. So the success rate is crazy. G2 tried to set up a counter there, and I mean, it was working out, but it was a round where they had 5 classics.
And they eventually
were able to
push
get the first, so yeah. It's a start, but they couldn't close the round out due to the economy.
Here it is, with the quickness into B main. Smoke to that default position, Prowler through. All according to the playbook for Leviatán. Look how deep almost got to this smoke, they're not ready for it! One of many, you'd imagine, contingencies for G2 to slow Leviatán down. Joel goes for the showstopper and has his life cut short, but damage has well and truly been done.
Now Valen going to get some support backside as Leaf makes his way towards Rafters to take contact if Lev have intentions of trying to get themselves back into that B side. But first they want to go for a mid re-clear. Lozin still has 1 Prowler to play with and is going to be waiting for that Haunt refresh as well.
Here's the pivot for Leviatán into mid. It's going to be backed off from by G2. They know they've got good coverage here. A player in Rafters who can chime in for Baby Bay.
Yeah, look at this little setup. It's just the Arcros, but you have Baby Bay jump spotting. He's going to see someone he can flash, and then Leaf could try to swing on them if they want.
Leaf, yep, does exactly that. Arcros setup is perfect. Simple stuff for G2 in the 1s and 2s. Now they can fall back. Valor knows he might find a timing, at least get info about how far up heaven Leviatán are, as Baby Bay's fallen back to a very passive angle.
1 enemy remaining.
Can't ask for much more than that. Can you? It's Leaf for 3.
Beautiful on the trades. And I mean, yeah, you mentioned the simple stuff, and that is just what G2 are flawless with. All of the ABCs of Valorant. It's like when we listen into their comms in the mid-rounds, everything is just a 3-2-1. Everything is a multi-swing. They are flawless at that aspect of the game. And it's probably the main factor that has allowed them to have such a high level of consistency. That was something that Trent was actually talking about in an interview this last week as well. Still waiting for a hot dog, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think we've heard one yet.
Still
but
not there.
That was something he was talking about, like the level of consistency that they have, being down 0-2 then going 5-0. He feels that they really have something special there.
Those fundamentals are important for G2, but will they answer this early round stuff from Leviatán? Now, many teams have tried and failed. This King
caught straight away, but it's that 3-2-1 into the smoke that deals with him as the sight hit is on it B.
Sato, an unlikely kill to find there, but still he converts now. Even in numbers, Blozin really had to give account of himself there because he was essentially isolated. Neon's able to get up here. Prowler can't confirm his location. He can win out against Baby Bay. Fake TP to boot. He's able to get out of the Seas.
Half on HP, still a Prowler to work with for Trent.
Can he isolate this?
G2 don't want to immediately go for that double hold, try to take the fight. And he's scared about even a repush potentially or something along those lines. But G2 are just going to stay doubled up, and now they have the line on the spike.
Yeah, it'll be telling, I think, when
they see that it's still down on the ground.
And that should tell them everything they need to know. They split this double face up, though, just in case there's been a roast play up into heaven. And there's Trent, ready for it. And he delivers.
That closes things out. He has been as reliable as it gets today, even when things on Pearl were completely out of control for G2, when they were being dominated by LEV. The one guy getting them a couple rounds on the board, it was Trent. He has been in form today, regardless of what has been happening to the rest of the team. Crucial impact kills are consistent with him. Now Leviatán forced onto the bad buy, a few stingers, and these are the kind of rounds where with the double duels, you can imagine there will be a big pace increase towards this A side, just trying to close the distance.
These are the rounds that G2, though, look really good at, typically. Oh, they got info now. They do see the peak about the wall. It's going to be a TP up there for Neon.
Wow, that is snappy from Jaw.
Sharp with it. 3 already for Jaw, and you know he's asking where the rest of these Leviatán players are. Blows in, caught out by the paint shell. Give him a number. King shuts him down, but still, I think his point has well and truly been made.
He was trying to ask his teammates if he could get that last kill as well, but sadly cannot. All good. That's still an insane round from Jaw. Always nice to see him back on the Rays. Played so much of it when he won Champions with EG. It's like flashbacks of him on Fracture, just satcheling around when they could never lose on that map, could do no wrong. He doesn't play it too much anymore, but when he does, it's always a fun watch.
And obviously that first showstopper of the game for him was a little ill-fated, but this next one is just about to hit his inventory again.
Yeah, as is the potential for Leap to get a Viper's Pit. This is a crazy push down mid.
What?
Oh my god, the recall star, that is so sick.
Spike's loose as well. Valen tried to get a little cheeky over on the B side for that info.
Oh, in the meantime, that's a great little lurk kill from King. He picks off Jaw on that A side to even things up.
Just doesn't look like G2 might run away with this round off the back of that early push down mid.
And we're going to get a bit of a reset here. LEV are fully divided, watching all 3 lanes on the map. And they've got the intention of just gathering back up with King to get into this A side exec. Maybe if King gets the spike down, they can have a pit for the post plant to play around as well.
Currently, Neon with it.
All right, Trent on that reclear. The Prowler might give a little bit of false info. It doesn't go to the range where it can actually connect onto King and chase him.
King was really deep there in A main, so now they can make their way back in. It's impossible for Trent to watch all these lines.
He is committing to the anchor, though. If he hears some noise, maybe they can give him that cross-map thorns.
There's some noise.
Yep, he's calling for that now.
Okay, that's bought some time. Look at the map. Leviatán are stuck.
Sees as well, knows that no one actually got out just yet. The haunt is good. This util sequence is great from Trent as the rotates are coming in for G2. I think he's going to get some help in time.
Yeah, they're going to have Heaven presence out. There are smokes there, but he might not need it. Single-handedly, Trent stops Leviatán in their tracks, and Leaf puts them to the sword.
Just a few pieces of util give the perfect amount of delay. Safety for Trent to get the numbers there in time. It began with this really cool play down mid, though. Leaf walks all the way down next to his wall. When he can't go any further, Valen drops him the recall star to walk in and get the peek. That's so cool.
Great cross-map comms there for G2. Trent was completely alone there. Until he wasn't. The big main push here for Leviatán, though, again. Look at the aggression out from G2. They want to fight for it. Spike, though, a little better on the trigger this time around.
This is G2 again, just trying to find ways to deal with the LEV B main default. But it results in Jaw going down. Showstopper not going to be a factor in this round now either.
Leaf, obviously, that solo A player for the time being. Maybe there still was some util to work with here. It's going to be hard for Leviatán to get straight up the middle of the map.
And this is the situation where majority of the rounds, LEV do just double back into the B exec after the mid work.
Quite often it's through into B heaven. There might be a different tact here.
Yeah, King just needs to go back and watch Sewer just in case someone was following him up when he gave up that space towards A main.
And now we get going.
G2 are ready to receive this hit. 3 players on B, most likely the outcome they go there, and they've still just got Leaf over on the A side jiggling for info just in case.
Neon can also ult for info if he should choose. Spike gonna drop down now, over drive at the ready, and Baby just completely overwhelmed in a second. That info is huge! Massive haunch from Blozine! And Spike knew exactly where to put himself. It's all of a sudden
Look at
just
the
LEV.
health, though, on the LEV players. There is a chance. There is a way for LEV back to get into this.
All of his targets are very split. King's going to be jiggling this and see it coming now. This is info for the rest of Leviathan. King brought down by the snake bite. That's the first. Time, though, of course, as always, is of the essence. So much to look at. And Neon spent most of his time chilling in B main that round, finally emerges.
Even though G2 have the right idea with 3 players on B, ultimately they have no defensive util to work with. It's just straight up gun duels, and they have to go up against Spike running around with the Neon ult. In combination with that, the Haunt that you called out got big value, so still a really tough anchoring situation for G2 despite having a good amount of numbers on the right side.
Some big ultimates here now for Leviathan. Nightfall and run it back chiefly. What do we get here from Leviathan? It's an early pit on the G2 side, reasonable, but it's this mid-presence.
Wants to simplify the round with that.
Well,
oh my god.
So much for that. Easy come, easy go. That's a Viper's pit now down.
And the Vice wall out of the mix right away. LEV really are good at just getting these Vice util pieces off the map early.
Still no inclination to go in that A direction despite LEV being picked off. It's really dragged Trent to heaven.
These are the situations that we've seen across the series so far, and just a lot of LEV games in general, that they'll find the openings, but they don't over push. They don't rush things. They try to use every second that they've got in the round to a lot of success back on Ascent. And a lot of success early on Pearl until G2 ran it all the way back.
Valon was second guessing whether he wants to be in this heaven position, even with that full mid control. It's time to go run it back and be popped straight away, and this Satchel util might look to slow things down. Nightfall's in place. Sato downed in his ultimate, but Spike is pretty deep into the site. I don't know if Trent's going to be ready for this. The Prowler hits him at just the right time, and he's going to give up that space entirely. Spike is low, doesn't matter, still wins it out. And now Valon gets his first frag, but again, it's really just a footnote on the round that Leviathan so far have dominated.
Yeah, already down a number. G2 want to play to the win con of anchoring the site, and they need to just get the kills to win it out at that point. They can't be playing for a retake. It's never going to work, right? But that's going to make things extremely difficult. It's a tough situation to win out no matter what when Sato's going to be hitting you with the run it back. They have all the util for the full exec, so G2 do what they can, but LEV finding that early kill. King finding it in the pit in the Viper 1v1. That is crazy from him.
Yeah, a bit more of an unlikely scenario than you'd expect. Nightfall also was, of course, committed. So G2 here, after obviously a slower start, do get to post those 4 rounds in a row. The money was in such a good spot. I think Baby Bay at one point at like 6.5. That is mostly dwindled here. Coffer's getting a little bit dry. So Leviathan have evened us up on their attack side.
Yeah, they can definitely try to, I think they can try to force something into this round though, considering they still have this showstopper as well. They've got the off. That's an insane kill to find.
Spike was ready to fight just as that Prowler hit. That timed out so nicely.
Come on, bro. All right. There we go. It took a second.
He is
but all good.
King has seen something he doesn't like. Clearly not feeling that confident. Here's that B main control once more for the attackers. Plenty of jumping. Jorgamo here trying to punish that, but the smoke is an issue.
A lot of spam just in case someone was playing close up there.
This is the classic Leviathan look on his attack side.
Here they come. Jaw on the open, he gets a showstopper off. Can he actually find a kill with it? Yeah, that's going to be one.
Is there more where that came from, though? Hit up in the midair. Sato's doing some serious work. And that's Neon getting a taste of his own medicine. The flick on the angle was nice, but Blozine chimes in. Now the Raze is out of the picture. Spike pretty deep into the B side, but Baby Bay is fighting on the ground. Blozine notches up 3, showing that level of class that often he doesn't need to dig for.
The G2 throw everything at LEV to stop that, execute the Steel Garden, had at least a one good connection. The movement from Jaw was crazy, and that is why you have to watch the Jaw raise. He is just ridiculous with that. The repick with the off is crazy. Then he tries to go for more with the shorty, hoping the rest of the team can flood out off of it. And it kind of could. The Steel Garden goes off, but listen, the round is never done against Blozine because he is just capable of snapping to every head on the other team.
And so this idea that G2, you know, have tried to test in order to stop this Leviathan B-side push has been mixed results. And it's always been Jorgamo trying to do something unexpected, trying to be disruptive. Like, it doesn't really seem much deeper than that. G2 are not respecting Leviathan, they're trying to push into B main or pop a showstopper and around like that. But I wouldn't say it's been successful with consistency. Leviathan are still ahead.
Been the story with this, and that's why it was so baffling and getting so much discussion, is that the teams know it's happening, but they still can't actually beat LEV when they're on attack side.
Because behind that, you've got someone like Blozin who just drops 3 kills to win you the round. You've got that individual caliber, this elite gun skill from Leviathan that means even if you have a good idea, in theory, of a way to shut them down on this push, it's never guaranteed.
Well, they're not going to be going for it on this round. It is different from LEV here. Getting Spike up close mid with Blozin. Going to apply some pressure with this fade util early on in mid. They definitely have to be apprehensive about the walk down from Leaf, or maybe even multiple players on a round like this when the wall is up.
Yeah, that same B setup is being conditioned, right? There's a retake wall here from Valin, though. Astra's going to be pretty instrumental for G2 in this round.
Oh my god, bro! Oh my god! All right, all good.
He was in an awkward spot, had to get off that line. I get it. Prowler's going to clear Mail and Heaven entirely here.
Yeah, so LEV trying to make it seem like they were going to just do the same thing in B. You had the same wall coming up from Sato, and then they go for the all-out mid aggro. Doesn't result in any kills, and at least in the health exchange, it's worse for Leviathan.
It's just as well Blozin is alive. He's still sitting on so much of this util that in the mid round is going to be crucial.
A lot of noise towards Vent.
They don't seem to care that they heralded their own arrival.
Yeah, they draw out a little bit of util. LEV at this point, they're still so spread across the map. They can decide to end anywhere virtually. They have B main, they have A main.
Okay, here's the cell.
Oh yeah, that's the cell, and it works out perfectly. Jaw is caught.
Hook, line, and sinker. Straight down in the drop. Here's Neon as well, asserting himself in Heaven. Leaf now, hitherto undiscovered, but gives himself up just for 1 kill on a very low health player. That's Neon notching 3 for the round. Less room for skill expression on the Omen, as we've seen already in this series, but still.
Look, one of the layers there is that LEV making all of that sound in Vent makes it seem like it is going to be the cell to go back to B. So when the fast lane goes up, when there's Blozin util towards B Heaven, it seems really realistic that that was the play, but that is the additional layer where, no, in reality, they're going back to A, and it does bait Jorgamo out of his position. He does fall for it.
And it's reminiscent of the first map in this series. There's a genuine discomfort from G2. And they can't really anticipate Leviathan's moves. Lev are really cleverly faking, selling things, working the map, pulling Jaw into rope.
Just so much more dynamic on attack sides. Going back and thinking about where this team was at in kickoff, it really does feel like night and day. Yeah, they were a respectable team in kickoff. They were decent, but this is a totally different level. They have made so much progress, I think, specifically on this attack side, and also getting a lot more out of Neon, having him be this more dynamic flex player that still has a lot of opportunities to op.
Heading into our 11th round now. Token presence towards mid here for LEV. It's just Neon, whereas G2 are on the walk. Now, do you get caught up in this? Dangerous. Primary controller here, need that util. On to A we go. I mean, this is G2 giving up so much of the map here. They've let LEV get a free post plant.
Yeah, the thing is, though, look at G2's position on the map compared to LEV's. If they try to flood this, there are 2 LEV players in the attacker spawn right now.
Yeah, this pit pretty important, though, I think, now, as LEV is still trying to get a couple of players in position.
I mean, speed could create a 5v3 in this situation for G2.
It's not fast enough. Nightfall also to dissuade any push onto the side for G2. There's enough time for Leviathan to get their ducks in a row, and they're pinging this out. There's a cross. Trent is aware of it now, especially having heard that run and back come through with Sato's already down Valen. Flash, refight. He will be claimed by Baby Baby. Still a second bite at the apple as Spike gets involved. G2 are starting to run out of options, running out of players. Time not on their side either now is Leaf. With 1 health decayed down, has to go for it.
It's a great simple response from Leviathan. Pressure down mid. Neon just plays to live. Understands that there are going to be multiple players there behind just the one he saw in Jaw. Calls out for the rest of the team to accelerate. just some good communication and understanding of the situation from Neon allows the team this free A site. And yeah, there's a window of opportunity for G2 to go fast, but there's no reason for them to think that that's a situation. They didn't have the info on, you know, towards B necessarily, that there were 2 players so far away, so LEV are able to get away with it. Do they want to just end this half with a fast A hit? These are the kind of rounds that they brought out on Pearl that were going G2's way at the end of that half, when they started to simplify things and just go quickly into sites. But hey, it might work out when Neon gets you the opener on the Viper.
Yeah, Leak just hoping to see that cross punish for it in the end. BabyBay in trouble, but he has the right weapon for the job. Now though, making a change. That very, very important for BabyBay to play off. He's getting so much support from Chen.
Look at this. Oh, timing for jaw is pretty solid. BabyBay still just tuck back elbow. No one can deal with him.
Nowhere to go either. Yeah, balance.
Steel Garden as well. It's cooked. Basically, exactly what we were saying on Pearl, right? Just before the round started. As soon as LEV kind of simplify things and go for a fast exec, they're just swatted down. They even get the first kill and it doesn't matter. The anchoring from BabyBay is phenomenal, and he gets great utility support. That haunt sets up the spam through the smoke, thinking someone is going to be in that position. He's right.
I mean, if there's anything that G2 are good at, is Adility's fast plays. They didn't get the better of Nongshim Red Force in Santiago, but they definitely got reps against that style. Leviatán sputter out a little bit towards the end of that first half, but in general, 7 rounds to the good. As we head into our last half of this series, that top spot, top seed in the finals hangs in the balance. I hate to do this, but I'm calling back to the predictions from our America's Talent coming into this series. And unanimously, we expected G2 to be dominant in this game, ultimately win the series. Now, Pearl, they did manage to recover, but man, it took some serious work. It took that, I don't know, level of grit, determination, and pedigree from Valen that we rarely see from other teams around the world to get them there. They are going to come into this second half on split behind. They tried a couple of ways to disrupt Leviatán, but now they get to go on the attack side. Wyatt, G2 get to set the rules of engagement, set the pace now.
And it looks like the pace will be pretty quick towards this A side. Noise made early. Jaw taking a lot of spam. Oh my god, the damage is crazy coming out from blows with that Sheriff. Jaw at 16. Dre was lit up a little bit as well. I mean, more than a little bit. A little bit is in 96 damage.
Yeah. Pretty devastating, especially when push comes to shove and Leviatán actually go for this fight. He'll have no idea what he's done until the end of the round. Blows. Sheer wall, spike. Isolated and still wins the fight. Yep, that's your boy.
Jaw on the rewrap gets called. The paranoia was good to get in. Leaf is up close. There's some disconnection from these G2 players that's being exploited by Leviatán.
Valen!
One enemy remaining.
Oh my god.
He's found forward. That is ridiculous and it's still not enough. Bro just got 66% of his kills for the game. That's ridiculous. Even King's got to respect it.
Yeah, he's got to respect it, but he stood up for that one. Still talking some trash. That's the rivalry that we talk about, these teams being 4-4 against each other. LEV have gone through a lot more significant roster changes, different iterations than this G2 team, but the one common denominator of Leviatán has been King. And he's gone up against G2 8 times, this being the 9th, on the cusp of taking the lead there and getting into another America's final.
And it's not been since 2024 since this team has really pushed G2, so it's really challenged them. They won 3-1 in that Stage 2 final in 2024.
Last year, well, it was all struggles for LEV. King couldn't find his fitting. There were awkward role swaps. G2 were the dominant force of Americas, insurmountable. And now they need to go for a forced buy to try and recover in this game. It's a big risk. They're going right back into this fast A-site exec. Jaw gets the space. Not a lot of damage from anyone on defense this time, not like the last round. And it's more proactivity from G2. They want to get all the way up into screens.
King wary of this star just ahead of him and how it could disrupt his ability to punish a push. He can clear that close right side corner.
There are going to be a couple judges on this retake for LEV. That could get awkward.
There's a snake bite. Needs to extract himself. He sort of can, but Sada's already found Joy. To the side we go! That is disgusting from Spike! Again, the kind of filth that he produces with uncanny frequency. And he'll snatch the round up for LEV.
Relay bolt is perfectly placed, but man, what was going on in screens? Jaw tried to peek out to help, but he gets caught by Sato. And then Leaf, who was in the corner, took a little bit of damage from that snake bite, dealt with by King, who was very patient and found the exact right timing to win that 1v1 while the rest of the team just flooded into sight. G2 not getting significant positioning around the map. They're not able to do anything towards ramp whatsoever. That's where LEV come flooding back into the site from the little hold in screens. Not enough. King is aware. He's got them pinned in that corner. G2 just don't get the map control. They're all congested on that site.
Jumping into a tech pause here briefly, as our chairs are being reclined. Looks like it might be a pretty minor issue, if at all. Some conversation on the G2 side of the stage. Mouse issue is being cited, so it shouldn't be too long. Usually it's just a charge issue with those. But again, G2, they know they still have to deal with this unrelenting pressure from Leviatán. Even though they're on the attack side, those retakes still give Lev an opportunity to pop onto those sites, to make use of Spike's ability just to run straight through them. It's really hard to hold your ground. You saw what Spike did, slid past two players, blew them both up with the judge.
Yeah, look, G2 might be getting some PTSD. You mentioned Nongshim.
Yep.
Danby was doing some filthy things to this team with the judge on split, and now Spike is just running around cooking them with it too.
And I don't think there are many teams in Americas that can handle that aggression as well as G2 can, but every round is just not something you can count on. Here we go, up to the B side. Jaw takes a minor amount of damage on the push. Now the isolation though with the molly. Sato helping out from heaven. Yeah, chalk this one up, folks. It is pretty cooked.
Yep, low buy for G2. They are destroyed, trying to close the distance on Neon. He's so good with this Omen util, connects that paranoia, and then he just has the haunt coming straight through. The molly onto main. Sato's flashing out to help him. Right there to pick up that crossfire angle.
An important timeout called there, or rather we just come out of a tech pause here, so G2 haven't really had a chance to chat so much. Last map, Josh had to use his timeouts in that first half and it paid off. Really gave them a staging ground to work with. There's a question of how you'd want to make use of them here now, as G2 are going to be chasing a 5-round lead.
On attack side split, no less.
30 seconds left.
Against a team that have been having an incredible stage, have sick aimers, have tons of confidence. Can G2 bounce back on a second map in this series?
The dangerous waters.
We know they have the resiliency. We have seen G2 make
over and
countless
over and over
comebacks over the last couple years. Can they do it again?
This team feels like it's much harder for them to read. Look at this stall, the delay with the molly. Sato is picture perfect in that moment.
So easy for Neon to hold there. Most of the players on G2 just with the Sheriffs as well. Right, no ults here for Leviatán into this round. G2 could play around the Cosmic Divide from Valen, perhaps. Maybe a clash in B main, depending on how aggro Lev want to get with this. But perhaps just going to be some kind of trap play. Flash will slide out, but the haunt is nice.
Do they try and refight this space to take care of Spike? No, G2 don't care that much for B main. They realize now that this leaves mid a little bit lighter. That's a little bit of damage there from King. It's an interesting round to bring the Outlaw into.
Only one player with the light armor is Valen, but still, you'll take that 140 damage hit.
They're swarming over them. They're everywhere.
Awkward as it gets in that 1v1. Leaf needed that.
That's the G2 lurk now dealt with. Leviatán aggressive in B main, pivoting back to mid, and now G2 might have gotten ahead of this.
Yeah, and they're running the bait, not the Sky. No heal for Jaw. He's getting in with 10 HP trying to enter into this site.
Neon knows he's in. He knows full well he's going to have to deal with that spike. With the flash of Sato gets into the site, and now he's in the perfect spot for this judge.
Ouch. G2 trying to get out of B main. Again, just getting collapsed on by LEV. The util coming in, and then all of the players right behind it. No fear. And just stuffing them in that choke point, giving them no room to breathe.
You're kicking yourself if you're leaving.
Yeah, that 1v1 was pretty unfortunate to lose. Pretty unfortunate. Neon is doing such a great job as well of just living on this site. He's not going down. He's not feeling a ton of pressure.
Now we have the D2 timeout.
Yeah, and you're going to want to get that off when we're at 11, and you've got 5 rounds on the board.
Is it too late? G2 come into this next round, and they're not going to be flush with the state-of-the-art tech that Leviatán have been abusing. They're not going to have a decent buy at all.
Now, given what they just went up against last round, there's reason to believe there could be an outlaw as well that they're going to have to deal with on this buy. Look, the G2 team, they came into this series being the massive favorite. Everyone predicted them to win. The fan poll was like 80% G2. They have been on a 5-match win streak since switching away from their off-meta look. They were on a 10-map win streak within that. They were flawless. It felt like, oh, G2 are just back to being G2. They're right on the comfort rolls. Valen is back in form because he's right back on Astra. Leaf is back on Viper, one of the best Vipers globally. And that might not be enough against Leviatán today, who are just surging to the top of the scene in this stage. So much progress from kickoff till now, and they're just a couple rounds away from closing it out against G2 for a second time.
G2 here really have to throw when they can on the wall and see what sticks in a round like this. It's Stingers and a Sheriff. That's about it.
It was on this second time, like you mentioned, Baby said there are no excuses for G2. They are on their comfort rolls. They are at their best. And LEV are dominating them. Run it back from Sato into heaven. G2 are on the retreat, forced away.
Knows he's got to refight this. Make use of the run it back. It is shut down, and he spends his flashes pretty heavily there too.
It's a good amount of info on the G2 positions. No one in B main right now, no one in A main for the attackers. They need to go for an entire re-clear of this area on the map.
I don't hate the insert here in male because Leviatán tended to just put all 3 players either in mid or in B main. They just switch them back and forth.
And also, look at the little arc rows that Baby has given Leaf, so he can pop that and he can try to swing out into heaven while this action goes down in main. It's raw contact, and because of that, King takes a lot of damage holding the cross.
Thought he might be isolated, but Neil's able to fight for him at the very least. It's Leaf, though, in the mix with the Stinger. Sato always dangerous from this spot. And I don't think this is going to be enough from Valen. He's able to bring Sato down at least. Low as he is, Spike v Trent. No spike plant. Wall still in play, and you don't want to be on the rope at a time like this. Spike puts him to bed, and G2's aspirations of the #1 seed might be about to follow.
It's all out of sorts in that clutch. The Cosmic Divide just creating such a chaotic situation. Trent didn't know where to look. The play from G2 was so nice. Leaf gets that timing into heaven. I believe there was a smoke for him to work through, or maybe it was just off that flash, but regardless, is able to get in, get the double backstab while G2 are coming out of main. It was another great set strat that Josh gives them out of that timeout. Even on the low buy, it was realistic to win. But now it's going to require 7 in a row, and LEV, pure confidence. Immediate swing to get the advantage.
They've got everything there. They got 3 players revealed. Got a kill off the swing. Neon's still alive. Sitting over this B side with the op. Chilling now, and we take mid. Leviatán move as a death ball. And they made G2 at every single impasse. There's a dive there for Spike.
All right, Jimmy's really trying to close it out, but the rest of the team are there to do it regardless.
It must have
Sasso,
stung.
man, lights them up.
It must have stung to go to Santiago, his home country, home city, and watch the other teams play Valorant. He was there as an invited guest, someone who could tell everybody where to go and visit, what the tourist spots were, but he couldn't play the game he loves. King had that fire in his belly to come into this stage and say, the next global that comes around, we will leave our mark. We will stamp our authority. First, it had to be on the competition here in Americas. Coming up against a team on a 10-map winning streak. G2 were expected to win this one handily. It was not to be today. A dominant split showing from these young bloods who barely sat in their seats.
Doesn't matter how much footage is out on this Leviathan split. They are dominating everybody on that map. Absolutely flawless record there. This team are the real deal. We spoke, obviously, had to, about them beating G2 back in week 2 when G2 were playing the off-meta stuff. This time, no, they're on the comfort rolls. This is classic G2.